Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Friday edition of the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN. It's 7 o'clock in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers and officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Happy Friday to Brooke Grimsley.
Yes.
Good to see you, Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis.
Hello, sir.
Everybody ready for the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's ready for the weekend. We got Jay Delsing coming up at the bottom of this hour. We're going to talk to new Cardinal Kyle Gibson, a friend of the show, obviously, and a member of Big League Impact. Looking forward to that. Also, Joe Vitale will join us in the 8 o'clock hour at 8:45, and Mike Kelly, the broadcaster for Mizzou football and basketball, and just announced as a new member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Mike Kelly will join us.
Pretty awesome.
Coming up at 9:15, getting ready for not only Mizzou basketball this weekend, but more importantly, I think, Mizzou football and what bowl game he wants to go to.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear. I was able to talk to Brady Cook this past Wednesday for the 101 on ESPN show that's going to go on Fox this Sunday, and he said he actually hopes to end up in the Cotton Bowl.
That would be interesting.
That would be the one, but it was more family ties.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. Yeah, go down and play at Jerry World.
Yeah.
So, as long as they're playing in New Year's 6, that's good.
No.
You don't want to play Texas in the Cotton Bowl.
No, that's a home game for Texas.
It's kind of unfair.
Yeah, not great. Not great. How about your St. Louis Blues? A 6-4 win last night at Enterprise Center over the Buffalo Sabres. This was like it was like 3 games in one. It was like they should have paid triple the price of admission. It was amazing.
You got a little bit of everything there, right?
Yeah, early on, the Blues get a goal from Brendan Saad, and then right after that, Saad scoring at the 108 mark at 5:02. Braden Shen with his 7th of the year on the power play.
Snapped over from Krug to Shen. He shoots, he scores! 6 seconds into the power play. Braden Shen with a wrister goes high glove on the goalie. And it's 2-0 Blues. 5:02 gone in the first period.
Nice to have your captain take a lead role in your power play like that.
Yes.
Anybody to get a power play goal we'll take it. We're not going to complain about it at all.
That one came at the 5:02 mark, and then at 10:59, Shen was followed up by the kid.
Neighbors comes back to the near wing. Buchnevich keeps it in. Finds Neighbors. Good stick to the near side for Thomas. Now to Buchnevich. Up to the blue line to Letty. Slap shot in front. He scores! Neighbors! Right in front again. 3-0 Blues. 9:01 to go. Period number 1.
And you're thinking, game over, this is great, I can leave, I can go home, get some rest, I can watch the end of the Cowboys Seahawks.
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friend. Buffalo scores 1 before the first period was out, 2 in the second, and then the Blues needed to start over, and their gifted youngster Jordan Kyrou started a couple of plays.
So the Blues come in, they shoot, they score! They regain the lead, Joe, and that was a needed goal with Hayes right on the doorstep. And the Blues make it a 4-3 game, 6:56 to play in the second period.
That one at the 13:04 mark for Kevin Hayes. Schenner scoring again for the Blues at 13:28. And we head to the third period with the Blues up by a score of 5-3. Shen scored the last goal, so who scores the next?
Chip off the glass by Falk. It's out of the zone. And then Buchnevich, he outstretches power. 2 on the goalie. The Blues shoot, they score! Buchnevich to Neighbors. Neighbors gets the goal, and the Blues up 6-3, 15:22 to play, third period.
So the Blues won the first game 3-0 and lost the second game 3-0. And then the third game they won 3-1. 3 games in 1.
Not bad.
There you go.
It was great. And
Yeah.
a lot of good things happened. Kyrou, obviously, he didn't score a goal, but man, you see his playmaking ability. That was outstanding. And Jake Neighbors has kind of become a phenom for the Blues lately.
Jake Neighbors really has. I think one word to describe him would be fearless. I mean, the net front presence that he has, the way that he's just really earning his keep on the top line. And I want to go back to Jordan Kyrou because we have talked about him a lot with him moving down the third line. I know that he was bumped back up to the second line. I love Kyrou and Shen together. I think that they work really well together. And for Kyrou, he was able to just really show off his speed in that game. You go back to that Hayes goal. I mean, him and Shen were able to force a turnover that really led to that. That was, to me, a really, really good game for Kyrou. And the fact that he was able to get 2 assists, he's able to, even if he's not getting a goal, He's finding other ways to contribute, and I think that's what Craig Berube is wanting to see from Kyrou. And I think that's been, to me, a response game from Kyrou. And from Neighbors, he just continues to show everybody why he deserves to be on the top line.
I like Jake Neighbors a lot. I like his demeanor. He's, when you're a young player, but you don't carry yourself like a young player. He carries himself like a veteran. He just continues to climb, going in the right direction, and does the things the right way. That first goal he got, getting in front of the net, finding a loose puck and being able to tip it back in. Those are the things that when you're a coach, you're like, yeah, that's what I've been telling you all to do. Doing what the coach tells you to do. Jamie Rivers was on with us earlier this week. He said that if you're a young player, just do what the coach tells you to do.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, and Jake Neighbors just does what the coach tells him to do, and he's having success, and it's awesome to watch.
Neighbors in his last 7 games, 7 goals and an assist. How much fun is that?
I think it can be better.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nice personally. Anytime you have any personal success, it obviously feels good and boosts confidence, but it's still really early in the season, and, I want to continue to build my game and, play a good stretch of hockey for longer than just, whatever it's been, 8 or 9 games. So I think just continuing to build, to continue to develop, and, obviously try and keep scoring goals, but try and improve other assets in my game that, I think can be better.
That type of demeanor, not being satisfied, knowing that there's more work to do, knowing that it's a small sample size, those are not answers you get from young players. They are usually just thrilled with the moment. Oh, yeah, I'm playing. No, it's good. It's cool. I feel like there's more to be done. I don't want to get satisfied or just be stuck in this moment. I know that there's more work to do. That's the type of demeanor of a young player that's going to have a long career and be really successful in the league.
Yeah, and now he leads the team in goals.
9 goals for Jake Neighbors.
He's
on pace
on their bingo card.
No, whatsoever. And I like the moment, too. Did you guys see where his dad was able to attend? Because, they just had that dad's trip, and he decided to stay in St. Louis. And so he was doing an interview with Strick, and he was able to see Neighbors, and he went into breaking it down. I just thought that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Blues at Arizona tomorrow night as they head back out on the road and see if they can handle the Coyotes, whom they have not handled very well of late. Thursday night football, Dallas rallies for a 41-35 win over Seattle. Had to do so late. Dak Prescott leading a drive at the end of the game. 6 plays, 35 yards for the game-winning field goal that was hit by Brandon Aubrey with 1:43 to go. How does Prescott like those situations?
It's what you play the game for. As a quarterback, to have the ball in your hands with an opportunity to go win the game, take the lead, whatever it may be. We practice those situations a lot, too. So, it's credit to Mike, the staff, and just the rest of because we've had so many reps at it, it's no different than the reps at practice. And so little reminders in the huddle about that, and then just we go out there and execute.
Dak Prescott, 29 of 41, 299 and 3 touchdowns last night, and all of a sudden, all the national complaints about Dak and Mike McCarthy are not being heard as loudly.
Well, they are beating up on teams that are, I said it earlier to you, I don't know that any of these teams that they've won against this year will have above a 500 record when the season is over. And I think that speaks volumes to where they are. Yes, you can only beat the teams on your schedule. You're 9-3. It's wonderful. Everyone's excited about it. But these teams are not. They're not great teams that they're beating. And truthfully, they could have lost to the Seahawks yesterday. The Seahawks just didn't have enough to get it done. And they, for whatever reason, didn't know DK Metcalf could play football last night. I don't know if that was in their scouting report. Normally, when you prepare for a game, you highlight certain numbers, you circle certain numbers. Number 14 should have been a number that should have been circled in red pen, making sure everyone knows where he is. I think they forgot. But, I don't trust this Cowboys team. It was a great win last night for them, but that game shouldn't have been that close against the Seahawks.
So do you trust Dak Prescott? Because November's been a good month for him. Over 1,500 yards that he's thrown for, 16 touchdowns, just 1 interception, which I think is always good for Dak Prescott. This morning, you see on ESPN, there's a banner that says MVP conversations for Dak Prescott. Are you bought in on him?
I trust Dak Prescott against the Rams, who, before the season, Randy, we said, who are these guys? We didn't know anybody on the defense. I trust him against the Giants, who are terrible. I trust them against the Panthers, who are extremely terrible. Trust them against the Commanders. They're not good either. And I trust them against the Seahawks. Those are the teams that they've beaten the last 5-6 weeks. Those are the teams that I trust them against. The teams that I don't trust them against, the Philadelphia Eagles or the 49ers. I don't trust him.
What was the score of the 49er game again?
42-10. Yeah, they got the hell beat out of them. And so I don't trust him or them. And they play the Eagles next week, and then they go to Buffalo, and then they go to Miami. So in the next 3 weeks, the next 4 weeks, because they got the Lions after that, let's see if Dak Prescott is still an MVP candidate.
I like it.
It's easy when you got four games against four terrible teams, but you got 4 games against these teams that are going to be in the playoffs more than likely. Let's see how well he does.
Does this just show the state of the NFL this year? The fact that we've had how many different potential NFL MVP conversations? How many have we gone through so far?
4 or 5. You had
Hurts,
Mahomes, Dak. I think there was some talk about Lamar at one point. Tua.
And Hill.
That's 6. Well, we don't know who the hell the MVP is.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing where there's not a clear front runner where you know, okay, well, this team or this player is running away with it?
I think it's great, and I think it should be. If Tyreek Hill gets over 2,000 yards, we shouldn't have this discussion. It should be Tyreek Hill.
All right, so, Kerry, with your thought process then, I would think that you believe that San Francisco and Philadelphia are the only teams that, unless something weird happens,
that matter in the NFC?
Yeah.
Yes.
The only ones capable of playing in the Super Bowl. I do think it's different in the AFC because there's vulnerability on the part of the Chiefs, obviously.
Yep.
Miami, they just haven't done it before. We haven't seen it. Baltimore looks really, really good, but Lamar's never done it in the playoffs, and that team hasn't done it with Lamar at quarterback in the playoffs. Jacksonville, certainly open to question.
Yep.
So it seems like while you have a pretty closed door in the NFC, things in the AFC are really wide open.
I agree. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens are leading the AFC side 9-3. They're the number 1 seed right now. I think that continues. I think Kansas City might stumble another time or two before the season ends. But Baltimore just feels like they feel like a team that is just going and plugging along and going in the right direction and doing all of the things the right way. So I like Baltimore the most on the AFC side.
And Tiger Woods played at the Hero World Challenge yesterday in the Bahamas. He finished 3 over. Said he was very sore, but his ankle was better than before, and he just hadn't played in a long time, hadn't played competitive golf. So Tiger will play round 2 today at the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN, and we are off and running. It's championship weekend in college football, and we are tasked with picking an upset that might cause some chaos. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to the Eagles with special guest Steely Dan on February 6th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss the long goodbye final tour with the Eagles. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
We have multiple conference championship games in college football this weekend, including the Pac-12 championship tonight here on 101 ESPN. The Big 12 championship tomorrow here on 101 ESPN. Let me give you the games. Pac-12 championship, Oregon a 10-point favorite over Washington. Big 12 championship, Texas, a 15.5-point favorite over Oklahoma State. We also have the SEC championship tomorrow. Georgia, a 5-point favorite over Alabama. In addition to those games, you have the Big 10 championship. Michigan, a 22-point favorite over Iowa. And Florida State, a 1.5-point favorite over Louisville. And those 5 games will shape the college football playoff, the Final Four. All right, so we're going to play the chalk here. Everybody's got to pick at least one upset for the weekend to elicit chaos for the college football playoff committee. Brooke, what do you got?
I love chaos.
Yes.
Chaos. I don't know if this is going to be the most chaotic pick, but I am going to go with Louisville over Florida State. And I'm going to say it's not maybe the most controversial because, as we know, Florida State's quarterback is not playing. You have Jordan Travis. He's done for the season. So I think that it's going to be Louisville. The only reason that I think that Florida State is favored, one, because obviously the record, but two, I think it's because Louisville also lost this past weekend. But I'm not fully buying into it because I think that Louisville will dominate this game. They have a potent running game. CD, I know you love to hear that because they have Isaac Grindo and they also have the other part of the tandem, Jawar Jordan. That is just such a great tandem they have. And so I think that Louisville is going to come out on top against Florida State. And Louisville's been like a top 10, top 15 team throughout this season.
It was a tough one last week against Kentucky.
So when you speak about chaos, clearly we're agents of chaos. We want chaotic things to happen in college football, and we want the college football playoff committee to be sweating and trying to figure out, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Chaos for me and for the entire southern region of the country would be no SEC team in the college football playoff, and that would mean that Alabama beats number 1 Georgia. I'm here for it. Sign me up, because you have Texas and you have Ohio State ahead of Alabama in the rankings right now. So if Alabama were to beat Georgia and Georgia fall out of the top 4, one of those teams probably slide in, and then you have 2 SEC teams on the outside looking in. And Randy, you brought this to my attention because, we are chaotic and we do enjoy chaos. And I think Mizzou fans need to hear this, that they should all be rooting for Georgia, because if Alabama does beat Georgia and no SEC team is in the Final Four, Mizzou ain't going to be in a New Year's Six day bowl.
The New Year's Six bowls will take both Georgia and Alabama ahead of Mizzou.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Gosh,
that'll be bad for Mizzou.
CD, you seem really upset about that possibility.
He is a hater, as LeVar Ball would say it.
I mean, Mizzou has had a great season. I want to see him in a New Year's Six day
No,
game.
you don't.
I do.
No,
I do. Against Penn State. I want to see them playing a name brand team, and I want all eyes on them. I think Mizzou has done a great job this year. Now, if the SEC, the prominent conference in college football, is unable to make it to the college football playoffs, I'm sorry. It's unfortunate. It's unfair, but it's life. Get over it.
The agent of chaos just came in. And here's the thing. I don't want to see that happen where you have Mizzou not in a New Year's Six bowl, because I feel like they've deserved it this season. But at the same time, I can't see the committee leaving out an SEC team. Hypothetically, if this happens, I mean, TV ratings, we know how big the SEC is for that. It's hard for me to believe that they'll find some way, if it does happen, they'll find some way, right?
Hasn't the SEC won 4 in a row and 6 or 7 of the last 9? The SEC is the best conference. Everybody knows it. But if you look at the records, how do you take an SEC team that lost, if it's Alabama that beats Georgia, how do you take an SEC team that lost to Texas Texas, right? And then take them over 3 presumably unbeaten teams in Michigan, Washington. And by the way, that's my upset, Washington over Oregon. I can't believe that it's a 10-point spread, but it is. And Washington's already beaten Oregon once this year. And Florida State. And I'm kind of with you, Brooke. I don't think that Florida State's going to be able to beat Louisville. But if it would shake out that way, you can't take a one-loss Alabama, I don't think, over 3 undefeateds. And what's it look like? What are we doing if Texas beats you? You both have 1 loss, and it's Alabama rather than Texas. What are we doing then?
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous because Texas, if they are a 1-loss team and they're already ahead of Alabama, and Alabama, like you said, beats the number 1 team, I don't know that you can put them ahead of Texas and Ohio State. Again, Ohio State is a 1-loss team from Big Ten. So you have...
But the Big Ten's not that good.
Well, that's your opinion, sir. And I think Michigan is pretty damn good. They're going to beat the hell out of Iowa. That's not saying much.
The Big Ten is a big 2.
They are, and so that's okay. We'll figure things out. Now, if Michigan goes on and steamrolls some teams in this college football playoff, then we may have a different conversation. But I think that it will be difficult for Bama to jump Ohio State and Texas, knowing that you already lost to Texas head-to-head.
Yeah, the only thing that they would, well, not the only thing, they have a pretty good resume, but if you beat number 1, and by the way, a program that hasn't lost in 3 years, that's a statement win.
The thing about Alabama, and I they are who they are. Alabama hasn't looked great all season long. They haven't been the steamrolling team that you expect them to be all season long. They got past Ole Miss. It wasn't a great game. They barely beat Auburn last week on a last-second 4th and 31 play for a touchdown that should have never happened if you're the Auburn Tigers. I don't know how the hell you sleep at night knowing you gave up that game. They are not a team that when you watch them, you say, oh, that is a top 4 team in the country. Even if they beat Georgia, they still, in my opinion, are not a top 4 team in the country. That just means maybe Georgia either wasn't as prepared or wasn't as good as people thought. I don't know how you put Bama in the Final Four if they beat Georgia because they are not a top 4 team, and they've shown it all season long.
Yeah, and by the way, their record here is 10.5 and 1.5 because they do count how you got the win.
Well, Carrie, you put them in because
the Pittsburgh Steelers were lucky to get a catch from Santonio Holmes to win the Super Bowl.
They got the win. I'm not saying that they didn't win the game. I'm asking how the hell Auburn sleeps at night knowing that they lost the game. Because you lose that game at home. Come on, man. Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Auburn.
Yeah, it just means more in the SEC. You have to get them in.
Yeah.
Come on, CD. It
Everybody
just
knows.
means more.
What does it mean?
More money. That's what it means.
Is there? By the way, is there an upset? Obviously, I was going to ask if there's an upset that doesn't matter. And this would just be the upset. I don't think if Washington beats Oregon, one of those teams is locked. Whoever wins that game is locked in to the college football playoff. If Texas loses, they're out. We haven't had a 2-loss team, and we won't have a 2-loss team. If Michigan loses, that would be a stunner. If Michigan loses to Iowa, they still in?
Michigan is not losing. Listen. Have you watched Iowa play football?
We had weird stuff happen. Weird stuff happens in these games.
Iowa is going to score 8 points, maybe 10. And Michigan, you get 12 and you win. I don't think Iowa is going to put up enough. They just offensively, they're stuck in the early 80s. Like 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Buckler's coaching, huh?
3 yards in a
Hayden Fry is out there calling plays. Yeah. It's
That's
tough
wrestling
to watch.
country out there.
Yeah, they wrestle, but they don't play offense.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, sorry, the over-under in that game has gone down to 34, and it is plummeting.
34
I bet
for
the under.
How the hell you going to 34 points?
The Iowa defense is terrific, by the way. So maybe that game is 17-10. Is Iowa going to score more than 1 touchdown?
No. 8 points.
Maybe 17-10?
Maybe 22-10.
Let's get you to 32. That's still the
That's
under.
probably.
Yeah. we've got 3 of the 5 conference championship games again tonight. Pac-12 championship at 6. Tomorrow morning, Big 12 championship pregame at 10. And then the SEC championship tomorrow at 2:30 right here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we mentioned at the top that Tiger Woods is back. We're going to talk to Jay Delsing about what Tiger said this week about his schedule. That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to head on over to Chesterfield Valley and talk to Laura at Ambassador Midwest Floor. And man, I'll tell you, the flooring they have at Ambassador Midwest Floor, the array, the volume is incredible. So for any kind of flooring you're looking for your house, you can get it at Ambassador Midwest Floor. And the cool thing is they're getting ready for the holiday season because they know that some people just want to redecorate for the holiday season. And you can do that for your family with Ambassador Midwest Floor. Stop by and buy a gift card of $500 or more, and then you get an extra 10% bonus when you buy flooring at Ambassador Midwest Floor. And they have everything. They have an incredible selection of luxury vinyl. They've got all kinds of different tiles. They've got carpet, whatever you need for your home. They've got Mannington, Robbins, Bruce, Carndine, Stanton, all kinds of different brands and styles. And you'll be in line when you buy that gift card for installation of new floors in the new year. Stop by one of their great facilities in Chesterfield Valley and in Glendale. Check them out at ambassadorfloor.com and love your floors and experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. Carrie and Randy, the Hero World Challenge is taking place down in the Bahamas. Ryan Harmon leads the way, 5 under par after one round. Tony Finau is tied for the lead at 5 under. And nobody cares. There's 20 golfers, and all anybody cares about is the guy at number 18. And we head to the celebrity line, and our buddy Jay Delsing joins us as he does Friday mornings here on 101 ESPN. Jay, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Good morning. Yeah, this is Christmas way early right now. This is the best.
Yeah, and I guess we should mention the number 18 is Tiger Woods, if people weren't aware of that. And he's back on the golf course. Said he was sore yesterday, but that, I guess, was to be expected with the fact that he hasn't played a lot, and he's still bouncing back from his injuries.
Absolutely. How about the opening tee shot, guys? He stands up there. He hasn't played golf in 7 months and hits the longest drive right down the middle, 326 yards down the middle. And the guy just, I don't know. We just, our sport just doesn't, we do so well when there's such a dominant force. And when Tiger just, walks outside and gets his mail, man, the whole golf world goes crazy.
Tiger dealing with, obviously, a bunch of injuries over his career. He's saying that he feels like he can actually walk now. Do you think that that's going to benefit him and he's going to be able to continue to finish tournaments and actually play at the level that he has once played at?
Boy, Kerry, that's the million-dollar question. I hope so. I mean, my biggest take on what I'm looking for here at the Hero is what does the progression look like between yesterday and Sunday? Because his body is, so beat up and had so much done to it. Just to see just the walking part and the swinging part and just the whole thing because he doesn't walk with much of a limp anymore, guys. And I don't know how much you guys can remember about Augusta in the spring, but I mean, he could barely get up and down those hills and things like that. So this is a big deal.
How much better is the game, the PGA Tour, to have Tiger back? I know that he's going to be kind of doing not as much, obviously. I think it's just maybe one event a month, but still, how much better is it to have him back and playing?
Yeah, it's hard to even quantify, Brooke, because he just, I think Roger Maltby said he doesn't move the needle, he is the needle. And he's only played 5 tournaments, I think, in the last 3 years. And if he's going to set a schedule, for maybe a tournament a month, as you said, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal for ticket sales. It's a big deal for our TV ratings. It's just everything. And there's a lot of young kids that want to go out and beat Tiger. And there's a lot of Tiger that wants to just beat anybody. He's just made to beat people. And for him to not have been able to do that for quite a while, it's interesting. And it's also, guys, the other thing that's really interesting to talk about for us golf nerds is, will he play the Champions Tour? And there's been a lot of talk about that. And, man, you could write a card on the Champions Tour and he could go on and play, 10 or 12 events around the country and back off a bunch of W's and be a pretty happy camper. So there's a lot for the golf world to take in this week.
Jay, when you have a layoff like he's had over his career, what is the one thing that is hardest to get back? Is it just the getting back adapted to the walking? Is it the swinging? Is it the soreness, stiffness? What are some of the things that you deal with when you have a layoff?
The biggest thing, Kerry, from a golf standpoint and a scoring standpoint is you're just rusty in terms of tournament play. There's nothing like tournament golf. You go out and play with your buddies and you pick up your 3-footers and you do all this stuff. The tournament golf is just an entirely different animal. And for those that have tried to play something where you have to actually play by the rules, you actually have to put out all of your putts. There's just a different a different toll that it takes on you mentally. And here's a guy that as soon as he comes out of his car, there's so many eyeballs on him that the cameras will never leave him alone. For someone like me, I could go out there and no one's going to be watching, and I could, trip and fall and no one's going to catch it. He does anything, and there's going to be 45 cameras on it. So from that perspective, that's difficult from the mental side. From the physical side, he's training like crazy. But to have to go through and put the mental side, Kerry, on top of when you're trying to win a Super Bowl or win a championship, and the mental acuity and the sharpness and the prep that you do mentally to go through that, and then you put the physical side on it where he's ice baths and doing all of the stretching and the lifting and the exercises to try to strengthen the parts of his body that he's absolutely destroyed for the last 20 years. It's a lot.
And Jay, in addition to playing, Tiger had a press conference earlier in the week where he talked about his addition to the PGA Tour Advisory Board and what he's doing for the tour and the sport. What was your main takeaway from his press conference?
He sounded pissed. he sounded mad that we're in this situation. How many times, Randy, did he say this can never happen again? Meaning, the guys, from the player standpoint, we feel like our commissioner has absolutely blindsided the players, and we have been taught and told and fed this line, and I don't know how much I believe it, guys, but that the PGA Tour is our tour. We play the tour. It belongs to the players. I have never ridden on our private jet before, and I have never been a part of some of these things. And when Jay Monahan completely reversed course and said, now we're going to talk to the Saudis, every single player felt like he, besides the double talk, that he just betrayed us. You know, because we can't be in every one of those meetings. And so he's got to be our voice, and he's got to be our representation. And when he waffles like that, guys, I mean, back in the day, I think in my day, I don't think Jay would still be around. I don't think he'd have made it this far. I think the players would have got together and said, you got to go.
Wow. And finally, let's talk about this particular tournament this weekend, because, as I mentioned at the top, Brian Harman does have the lead, and this is kind of where guys get started, getting ready for 2024. Who should we be watching this weekend if we're watching the Hero World Challenge?
Well, there's all these rumors that John Rahm's going to jump to live for $600 million, and that they've offered $500 million to Max Homa, and I just like watching the top players play, and I was they had this little Netflix. There's all the little inside stories that go on that are maybe not that interesting to most folks. But Colin Morikawa has switched his swing coach of almost as long as he's been playing, so probably 15 or almost 20 years, and so I'm interested to see how that goes. And then Colin wins his first tournament, the Zozo Championship, with his new coach. So I'm interested there. Tony Finau is always one of my favorite guys to watch, and he took Morikawa's place in the little Netflix Cup, where the PGA Tour players played with the F1 guys out in Vegas. So that was kind of interesting. But I think I was really wanting to see Victor Hovland play again, Randy. He came off the regular tour so hot. He won the FedEx Cup. I don't know if you guys saw that, but this kid won $35 million this year. They asked him what he did with the money or what kind of cool things he did. And he said, well, nothing really materialistically. I took my mom to Malta, and we had some really good food.
That's pretty good. To go to Malta to have really good food. I like that.
Yeah, with your mom.
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I mean, this guy was just like, he's just like, oh, shucks, this is what we did. And so everybody kind of loved that answer, especially nowadays where, what the guys do, really isn't, you really can't tell anybody in a press conference.
Jay Delsing, who do you and Danny Mac have on the show on Sunday morning?
We have Eddie McVeigh from Maggie O's. We did a live remote from down there this week. And then we've got Wes Edwards from the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. And we had Rick Hummel from our beat writer for the Cardinals. So we had some
Rick Hummel, Derek Gould?
I mean, Derek Gould. I'm sorry. Oh, my God.
Rick Hummel would be a great get.
He would be a good get. He's not with us anymore. No. I should have got up 10 minutes earlier before I got on the call. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
So we'll be tuned in on Sunday.
Yeah, it's Derek Gould, I promise.
All right. Jay, have a great weekend. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. See you later.
Yeah.
Brooke is aghast.
Did you see my face? Because for a moment, I was just like, what? What? I didn't know if you've heard the Mandela effect, right? Where I'm like, I know I didn't imagine that he's not here anymore. Rick Hummel, fantastic person, and I miss him a lot.
Beings ever.
So nice. Yes, so nice. So
we miss him.
That would have been a great interview.
Yeah.
You could do it like Michael Jackson for the final tour, like This Is It.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hologram.
Righty. What do we have next?
Coming up, I get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo! Take it or leave it is next on 101 ESPN.
The Morning After Daily Podcast, one of the longest running podcasts in St. Louis.
I'm not asking about anyone in particular, but there's this guy I know that you'll see his brain kind of working before he says a word.
Yeah.
And then he says the word like backwards in order to like garner attention and laughs.
Who is this guy you're talking about?
You know, kind of like your calls. Who's looking for attention is you when you call and make these dumb calls once a week.
Really let him have it.
All right, go on with the rest of your crap.
Oh.
Find the Morning After podcast at tmastl.com. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to Hootie and the Blowfish with special guest Collective Soul and Edward McCain. On Saturday night, June 1st at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Don't miss Hootie and the Blowfish when they hit town this summer. Get Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues blast their way past Sabres. Good morning, it's Bradford Bruns with a Sports Center update, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. In a topsy-turvy contest at Enterprise Center last night, St. Louis held on for the 6-4 win over Buffalo. Jordan Binnington made 41 saves, but it was an offensive showcase for many, including the captain.
Here's Kyrou in for the Blues to the middle of the ice. Centers it. They shoot. They score! Shen, his second of the game. The Blues back up by 2. It's 5-3. 6:32 to play, second period.
Voice of the note, Chris Kerber on the call for Braden Shen's second of the game, 8th of the season. Jake Neighbors also potted 2 goals. St. Louis visits Arizona tomorrow evening. Also on Saturday, conference championship tilts aplenty in college football. Texas tackles Oklahoma State on the Big 12 side. The SEC pits Alabama against Georgia. Both affairs on 101 ESPN. This Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. It's time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Our text line is open, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. I'm texting with Michelle because in the last segment, if you missed it, Jay Delsing suggested that Rick Hummel was going to join he and Danny Mac on their show on Sunday, and obviously Rick Hummel, sadly, is no longer with us, but he brought Rick Hummel back. One time,
he didn't. He did not bring him back.
Kind of, hypothetically, just metaphorically speaking. But I'm texting with Michelle because one time I killed somebody on the air who wasn't dead. I'm trying to figure out who it was. So on Character and Swam when I did
told
that.
them rest in peace?
Yeah.
And they were still alive? Alive and kicking?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That might be worse.
I did. We'll figure out who it was.
Oh, Andy.
All right, guys. We are a quarter of the way, more than a quarter of the way through the NHL season now, and the Blues have 25 points. They're in the first wild card spot in the NHL's Western Conference, and they're only a point behind Winnipeg for third place in their division. Take it or leave it, the Blues are a legitimate playoff team.
This is probably going to bite me in the butt. I'm going to take it. However, the way that they play, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the St. Louis Blues, it won't be a long playoff run.
I would agree with that.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm going to have to take it for that exact reason. And see, they just need more rest in between.
Or less Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Less Thanksgiving, yes.
I was thinking about this last night, and it's really interesting where the Blues are right now and how spot on Tom Stillman was when he joined us during the offseason, and he said, we aren't elite. And they aren't. They aren't in the upper tier, but I think they're right at the top of that middle tier of NHL Western Conference teams.
Yes, I agree.
I think that you can see, like, Jake Neighbors could potentially be one of those guys just because of, like I said, his demeanor it's not flashy. It's not, he's going to do his job and score and do it really well at a high level. And that's something that you need from your younger players. I've been saying it really all season long is your stars, your big money players have to be superstars, or you have to find a superstar. And I think this team has been lacking that. I think Buchnevich can be that, but he hasn't shown it, whether it's because he's injured or not all the way there just yet. Someone anyone has to become a star on this team in order for it to be an elite team.
Do you guys agree with me that while the skill sets of a Steen or a Schwartz aren't what Neighbors is? They do it in different ways, but Neighbors is one of those guys that seems can do everything.
Yes.
Right? You can play him on any line, you can play him at center if you wanted, you can play both wings, you can play him on the PK, you can play him on the PP. He's just one of those guys that is kind of a Swiss Army knife that the Blues are somewhat lacking.
Yes.
And so he's really a great guy for a coach like Berube.
A very versatile player, so he's kind of almost like your Tommy Edman or Brendan Donovan, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Tommy Edman.
But I think maybe a higher ceiling than those guys, if that makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah. So last night, Tristan Jarry for the Pittsburgh Penguins got a goalie goal. Take it or leave it, a goalie goal is greater than a goalie fight.
No, I
gotta leave it. I love goalie fights.
It's one of the most iconic moments in the history of St. Louis sports is here comes Shovel Day, and Ken Wilson going crazy when Cujo and Shovel. No, a goalie fight lives forever.
I love it.
You just don't get to see it enough, though. You see more goalie goals.
No, I think
which one you see more?
You see more goalie goals than goalie fights.
Yeah.
No, the goalie fight.
The goalie fight is better.
Is elite because I'm just thinking about last season, Jordan Bennington and Marc-Andre Fleury, how that kind of almost happened. I mean, that was close-ish to a fight, but still, I love those moments.
It's kind of like they're staring at each other. You want to go? You want to go?
Yeah.
You want to go?
With their giant pads.
From opposite ends of the ice. You want to go?
Carrie, I'm with you. There have only been 17 now all time, so it is a very, very neat occasion.
Goalie goal is pretty amazing, man.
It's exciting.
I'd be shooting for that every chance I got.
Oh, I'll take a Jordan Bennington goalie fight any day. So take it or leave it, guys. The Cardinals are reportedly interested in a closer from the KBO. Woo Suk Go. Take it or leave it, he will be their closer next season.
Oh, I'm going to take this.
No, you got Hell's Bells playing. You got the red lights coming on. You can't do that in the 8th inning, Randy. You got to do that in the 9th inning. That's the bottom of the 9th play. You Hell's Bells, Ryan Helsley is your closer.
But what about on the second day?
Oh, okay.
You see? What about on the second day?
Okay, you got me there.
Okay. I'm simply going to take it for one reason and one reason only. How much fun would this show have with a closer who has suck in his name?
No.
Randy. No.
I'll take that. I'll take it. Okay.
The text line is open. Bradford, what do you got?
All right, speaking of netminders, the Blues own Jordan Bennington. He of the 41 saves last night. Take it or leave it, guys. Jordan Bennington will be a Vezina finalist this season.
I'm going to leave it.
I'm going to leave it as well. They're giving up too many goals for that. Yeah. I mean, they only had 20 shots on goal, right? The Blues did, and they gave up 46. Sheesh. Yeah. That's got to be stressful, man. I understand that they won the game, but I don't know that you can play every night getting 20 shots. Now, they were good. You made more than the opposing team, but if you're giving up 46 shots, that feels like a lot.
Yeah.
And it feels as if you have to be on one of those upper echelon Western Conference squads, too, piling up the victories. Let's swing it to the gridiron. Like this one, take it or leave it. Mizzou's starting running back next year will be a guy from the transfer portal instead of someone on the current roster.
I have to take that.
I'll take it.
I'm going to take it, too.
I mean, I understand the transfer portal. I hate what it has done to high school recruiting because I've told people in 10, 15, 20 years ago, you would have a college taking 20 to 25 high school kids. And now, they may be taking 18 to 20 JUCO or transfer portal kids. And you're looking at 5 to 7 high school kids for each college roster. It just changes the result for how high schools can go about their business, how colleges go about their business now.
And we know that Cody Schrader is moving on. Nate Pete, he too is graduating. Right now, the coaching staff, Eli Drinkwitz, really liking Jamal Roberts, but the fact of the matter is that he's received a grand total of 1 carry this season. So remains to be seen, what will happen there.
Let you know.
Very true. Take it or leave it from the 636. Montreal will get an NFL team someday. Oh, and the Bills will move to the STL.
Leave it.
Leave it.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to leave that. Whoa, that was a lot.
Yeah.
in
I know.
that one.
Just
wow.
thrown in, back in.
Whoa.
Here's the thing. In the United States, and Brooke, you're a former TV person, the people that watch TV in Canada, that doesn't apply to U.S. TV ratings.
No, it doesn't.
So there would be, I guess, some money in selling your national, and maybe they already have, I guess they probably have, selling your national TV ratings, your TV rights in Canada. But at one point, there was an agreement between the NFL and the CFL to not invade their cities. The NFL was not going to go into Canada. I would be very surprised if the NFL would move into Canada. I would think that Europe would come before Canada for them if they're going to leave the United States of America.
That's far.
That is
Yeah.
really far. I don't
far.
know if I like the idea of that.
Nobody would, but it'll make them money, and Goodell likes money.
Keep it in the USA.
Let's get festive or not. Mariah Carey's signature Christmas jam. Am I safe? I'm just the replacement, the pinch hitter here. Can we actually say the name of the song?
Yes,
you guys
we can.
all know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I Want for Christmas Is You. Well, this texter believes it is by far, bar none, the most annoying Christmas song of all time.
No.
No. I'm going to leave that.
There's
the most annoying?
there's a Faith Hill, a really sad Faith Hill, annoying.
Do you have that on there?
Let's see what we got here. I don't know. We might have something. We might have. Let's see. We do have some good stuff.
We're safe.
It's such a good song.
For Christmas.
It's a bop. Isn't that what the kids say these days?
This isn't annoying. No, not annoying. Leave it.
That is a damn good song.
That's a really good song.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, it is.
And she wrote it. She wrote it, so she is just cashing it. Maybe the annoying part is that you do hear it everywhere, but I enjoy it when I hear it.
Need to hear this one more. Yep, that's a good one.
I love that one.
Yep. So,
It's Christmas time in Hollis Corner.
What is the worst Christmas song?
There's no.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
What about the Kissing Santa one?
Oh yeah, I saw Mama's
no.
kissing.
That's a little weird when you go back and listen to that
is
song.
The Jackson 5, and we will not slander Michael.
Is that their
here.
song, or was it a cover? I'm talking
That's
about
cover.
just the song in general. It's a
Little
little
MJ.
creepy.
Jackson is the one that I know. Michael. What are we? Why are people saying stop the Christmas crap? What's wrong with you, Scrooge?
Shout out to STL here. Here we go.
What is it?
Who is this?
B2K.
No.
Yeah.
Who is this?
That's not B2K.
That's B2K, yeah.
Is it?
Santa Claus coming to town?
Really?
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you. Do you have one more? Do you want to give us some?
We
some more?
do. We have
Some
one more.
Christmas? There's a Grinch out there.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bradford.
That's all right. We have one more. Not sure how to interpret this one, quite frankly, but take it or leave it. A wet Friday is better than a dry Monday.
What?
Just leaving it out there.
Oh.
You interpret.
Oh, yeah. I'm a child. Don't have me in
Choose your words carefully.
I'll take it too, right? Take it.
Okay.
Can you say it again?
You want me to say it again?
Yeah, because it's making you uncomfortable, so it's making me.
Take it
making a
or
little
leave
giggle.
it. A wet Friday, such as the case today,
Turning red.
it's superior to a dry Monday.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a wet Friday.
Getting hot in here.
That's take it or leave it. Thanks for your texts. Thank you, Bradford. Coming up here on
We keep
101
ending
ESPN.
segments on weird notes.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Friday.
The Brewers are apparently about to sign their top prospect to a big contract. Which Cardinals should be approached about long-term deals? That's next on 101 ESPN.
sports source in St. Louis that matters. WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One. A fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the opening drive's fresh take.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We're going to talk to new Cardinal right-hander Kyle Gibson coming up in just a few minutes. But the Brewers, according to John Heyman, are about to sign Jackson Chourio, their top prospect, to a huge contract, $82 million. With $2 million buyouts on team options. So it's going to be an 8-year deal, 8 guaranteed years, and close to $80 million, including those team options. It could make it a 10-year deal. And this will be the biggest contract ever for a player that's never played in the major leagues. He's only played 6 games above AA. The Cardinals obviously have some great young talent led by Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn, but they also have Brendan Donovan and Lars Nootbaar and Zach Thompson. Tommy Edmonds, 28, so I don't know if he fits into this classification. And then Ivan Herrera. If the Cardinals were going to go to one, no, let's say 2 guys, because I think we can all agree that Jordan Walker is going to be the first guy that they're going to go to. Who would you want the second long-term contract to be offered to of that group?
Ooh, this is a tough one. So I know that Lars Nootbaar is on there, so I'm sure you guys are like,
Nutty Nooters of Newt Nation.
She's going to take Lars Nootbaar there. But out of that list, if you're taking Walker out, I feel like just based off of what the Brewers just did, then you also do that with Wynn. Because I do think, and I'm sure we're going to get some people who text in saying, well, it wasn't a great year for him. I think that he's really going to grow into a special player. He has the abilities, he has the skill, and I think that would be smart for the Cardinals to invest in.
For me, it's Wynn as well. If the Cardinals hadn't signed Wilson Contreras to the contract that they did, it would be Herrera. I think he did a great job last season, showed his ability to probably be an everyday catcher. He's going to be a backup now, and I'm sure he'll get a lot of reps because Wilson will play some DH. He will have, hopefully he's not in the outfield like they said, but he has some days off and some days where he's at DH, maybe some days where he plays first base if Paul Goldschmidt is out. It would be Ivan Herrera, but I'm with Brooke. It's going to be, for me, it's going to be Mason Wynn. I think he's on that list. Nolan Gorman, Brendan Donovan, Zach Thompson, Tommy Edman. I don't think that they are guys that you would have to pay that type of contract. Those contracts, in my opinion, are for people that you think are going to be superstars in the long run. And you're trying to save yourself $100, $150 million, $200 million down the line 3 years from now. So you pay them $100 million early and get them some money in their pockets and say, hey, we got you here tied up, locked up, and you're being paid well, but you haven't hit that superstar level where you're going to be paid $215 million over 10 years or whatever the case may be.
What about Zach Thompson in this conversation, though? Because we know how much pitching has been an issue for the Cardinals, especially in recent years, especially the young pitching that you have internally. Do you think about making a deal with Zach Thompson?
I do, but here's the thing. He hasn't been hurt yet, and normally pitchers do get hurt. And that's just the price of doing business. But the other part of it is, if you gave Carlos Martinez, who was a better prospect and more established, if you gave him $51 million over 5 in 2016, after the 2016 season, what is Thompson, what's his number now, 7 years later? I don't think that you give Thompson, at this stage, based on what he's done, $10 million a year. Maybe you go 5 and 35, $7 million a year, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And you lock down, because what you're doing is, I think you're buying 1 year of free agency, right? That you'd be buying 1 year of free agency from him.
I'd have said 5 for 25.
You can't hurt you to offer it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And again, when you're making $700,000 or whatever the case may be, you get $5 million a year. That, oh shoot, heck yeah. So I think the Cardinals do need to look into that. They did that with Colton Wong, if I'm not mistaken, some years back when they offered him. It was around that same 5 for 25. Yep. So I think that's and when you look at it, you might have said, well, why did they do that? That's a good deal, right? That's a guy that you think is going to potentially be a superstar, be a perennial all-star year after year, and so you lock him up for that amount of money. If it goes bad, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not a lot of money, and you can eat that and you can go on about your business. So I think that would be a good deal. I think the Cardinals should look into doing some of that to make sure that they keep these guys around and don't have to pay an arm and a leg later.
They should. Do you think that this is also another way of the owners trying to figure out a way to get away from some of these or work around some of these bigger contracts? Because as we know, the Players Association for Major League Baseball is one of the best players associations out there, if not the best. And they have definitely made sure that the players are getting paid. That also has to do with the agents. Is this a way for the owners kind of to find a loophole of getting these players younger earlier with those contracts so that they don't have to, have the sticker shock later on of these giant contracts we're seeing now?
Cost certainty is the most important economic aspect of baseball, and if you can get cost certainty, it's a great thing. One other note, by the way, Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners signed an 8-year deal for $120 million, including a $15 million signing bonus during the 2022 season. I don't know if Walker is comparable to Julio Rodriguez, but the 120 over 8 would seem to be probably what he'll be looking for. And I don't think the Cardinals could avoid that. Because now you've got 5 years of him. Well, if you can get 3 years of free agency, I think you got to try to take advantage of it.
I agree. And I think you have to, I think you just have to be willing to do that and not be afraid of what ifs. You brought this guy along. You think, and you have said he's going to be a really good player for a long time.
Best one since Pujols.
You said that. You should trust it. You should believe it. And you should pay him now rather than having to pay, because the longer you wait, the higher that number goes. You wait another year, now it's, okay, give me 7 for 140. You wait another year, okay, now give me 6 for 180. You know what I mean? It's going to go up, and the numbers are going to be less because he's going to want to get to that free agency number before 31 years old, right? So you're going to have to make a decision earlier rather than later.
And we should know. I thought about Brendan Donovan. He's 26, so I don't think you really need to go there, even though you don't have the service time for him. But Wynn is going to be 22 years old on opening day, and Jordan Walker is going to be 21 on opening day. So I would be inclined to, if I were the Cardinals, look at those two way ahead of everybody else.
Your question was which Cardinals should be approached with long-term contracts. We got a text from the 816. It says, without a doubt, Wilking Rodriguez.
Well, here's
he's been the difference maker, the catalyst, if you will.
And I love the thought process because obviously losing him last year was huge. But the thing,
how many games did he play last year?
Oh, well, he missed the season. That's why they won only 71 games.
Zilch, 0, nil.
But Wilking, if we go 10 years, will be 44 at the end of the deal.
Oh. No, so you're saying that deal might go sideways?
It could go sideways, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be 30, and you know what?
Something to think about.
Yeah, he'll be 34 on opening day. Wilking will.
There's no way they said that he was going to be the reason.
That was voiced by the Pobo, I believe.
Randy, when's the last time Wilking Rodriguez played?
Let me look for you.
2014.
2014.
Nice.
How many games did he play that year?
He played 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Randy, there's no way.
Well,
there's no way.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, granted, he got hurt.
He's been hurt for 8 years?
But.
What is it, 9 years?
2022 with Dos Laredas. He, in the Mexican Independent League, he pitched in 46 ball games with a 2.01 earned run average. He was 6-2. 6-2. So I think that's what the Cardinals were looking at. They were looking at the upside because he had been dominant.
Gotcha.
Like for the Mexican version of the Gateway Grizzlies.
Didn't think we'd talk about that today.
No, you didn't. Coming up next to the new Cardinal right-hander and a VP of Big League Impact for Adam Wainwright's, the charity that Adam and his brother founded. Kyle Gibson joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
With Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis, I'm Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And over the years, we've had the pleasure of visiting with Kyle Gibson when he pitched for other teams, when he did great deeds in our community for Big League Impact. Of course, the organization founded by former Cardinal Adam Wainwright. And Kyle Gibson now gets to join us as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. And he's with us on the celebrity line right now. Kyle Gibson, welcome to the Cardinals and welcome back to 101 ESPN. Congratulations. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing really well. So excited to be talking to you guys as a member of the Cardinals.
How long have you been thinking about that? Not talking to us as a member of the Cardinals, but being a Cardinal.
You know what? I think those go hand in hand. No, I think it seems like it's been a few years in the making for me. It's something that I didn't grow up a Cardinals fan being in Indianapolis, but as soon as I got to Mizzou, I was surrounded by Cardinal Red. And then all of my wife's family grew up here, and we're all Cardinals fans. And then when we moved back here in 2017 for our kids to be around grandparents and family, that's kind of when it started to say, man, it'd be pretty cool to play for the Cardinals. In the last few years, I just don't know that the organization was in a spot to bring me in, and that's okay. And I tried, would love to have been here a few years ago, but that's just how it goes. Organizations have plans, and, I was meant to be somewhere else. But thankful that this year it's worked out, and I'm really excited to be here, and for a lot of reasons. This is obviously, I don't need to tell anybody listening what this organization means to baseball and how many players want to play here. But there's a lot of players that want to be in Cardinal Red.
Kyle, obviously you do a lot of great work with Big League Impact, so I assume that you've had a lot of conversations with Adam Wainwright about the Cardinals in St. Louis. What did he tell you about being a Cardinal?
I've heard from Adam about what it means to be a Cardinal for a long time, and it's probably something that kind of built that anticipation and hope of being a St. Louis Cardinal. Just hearing him talk about how passionate the fan base is and how passionate the players are for being in Cardinal Red, and just everything that goes with it. But I talked to him when I found out that the Cardinals were interested. He was one of my first phone calls, and just getting a sense of where that locker room's at, and getting a sense of what the team needs and the direction they're going, and just getting his sense of Dusty and Ollie and everybody. That's an opinion that I value a lot when it comes to things on the field and off the field. So we sat down and talked with him and Jenny, and just getting a sense of the family environment and everything. So that was a really good conversation, and I'm really thankful that Adam took the time to do that.
Kyle, it's obviously the offseason. Have you had a chance to interact with any of your new teammates or any of the coaching staff?
Talked with a few of the coaching staff, and then just was added to the team text chat. So been able to save some phone numbers, say hello to a few guys, and reach out to a few of them as well. So, I look forward to doing more of it. I'm a talker, and I'm a relationship person, so I like to be around people, and I like to be in communication with people. So I'll try to make some phone calls here and get to know some guys before we get to Jupiter.
So we had Wednesdays with Wayno last year, and we are looking for a new pitcher to come on every week. We can call it Kicking It with Kyle if you like. You let us know what day works for you.
Man. Yeah, you know what? I don't know that I'll be able to take the place of Wednesdays with Wayno. So it was still weird to hear you guys announce him as former Cardinal. So I don't know if I can take that place, but anytime you guys want to talk, like I said, I love to talk, and I love to talk baseball and charity work. So if you want to talk about those two things, I'm in.
I got to ask you, before I ask you a baseball question, how is your Baltimore Orioles Big League Impact Fantasy Football team doing?
Well, I think I'm right around 500 maybe. It's been an up and down year in fantasy football for me in general. Not good. I have not been consistent whatsoever. I have a really good team, and actually in the league with Wayno, and I feel like I've scored the second or third most points, and I'm almost right at 500. So it's been a frustrating season in general. So each year I feel like I'm getting closer to never playing fantasy football again.
Me too.
This year is no different.
Hey, Kyle, one of the things that I look at, one of the columns that I look at when I look at a pitcher is starts and innings, and you have been a workhorse. How much pride do you take in that you take the ball 30 times a year and you give your team 175, 180, 185 innings? How much pride do you take in that?
Yeah, I think, there's a few parts to that. One, I've been really fortunate. I think the only injury I've had here, knock on wood, is a groin in 2021 that kept me out for a couple starts. So I've just been really fortunate to, even the minor ailments that pop up, the training staffs and people around have been able to do a great job to keep me on the field. So I'm, really thankful for that. And I learned probably in my middle years in Minnesota that I just was going to try to stop giving away innings and stop giving away outs. And what I mean by that is, if you go out and you have a 3 or 4 spot in the first inning, well, that doesn't mean the game's over. That means you still have a job to do for the next however many innings you can. And I feel like when I switched my mentality a little bit to not allow one inning to affect the next, and to make sure that, if I have a rough one, I go in, I check my report, I check my plan, and I, get my butt back to work because there's still work to be done. When I stopped giving away innings, I think that made a big difference for me mentally and on the field.
Kyle, this starting rotation as it stands right now is a very experienced and seasoned group, a very veteran group. What possible advantages or even disadvantages does that present?
I really appreciate how you tiptoed around the word old right there. You were saying many different words. I appreciate that. I think, all joking aside, I think what a starting rotation can add to a team is consistency. I don't think a starting rotation can really add confidence over a full season. Maybe for one game, if you've got your stopper on the mound, okay. But I think a starting rotation brings consistency to a locker room and consistency to a team. And when as a manager or a pitching coach or an offense or a defense, when you know what you're going to get out of that guy on the middle of the mound every single day, it really can add consistency to a team. An offense knows they don't need to score 7 or 8 today. A defense knows they're going to be in the game. They're going to be, active. They know that they're going to be, once again, in the game. That consistency can do a lot for a team. And I think, the rotation I'm a part of right now, I think we've got, 5 guys that can, and then I'm sure more guys, behind us that is going to add some consistency and be able to be that, hopefully, guy on the middle of the mound that's given his team a chance to win every day.
Now, Kyle, you were obviously immersed in your season last year and not really, I'm sure, not paying too much attention to what the Cardinals were doing. Were you able to see any of what the Cardinals were and how they were? They had one of their worst seasons that they had in 30 years and with 91 losses. Have you had a chance to take a look and see what took place for the Cardinals last year?
Yeah, I had the fortunate struggle of facing them. They were a tough team to prepare for. They had a really good offense, and I think maybe pitching didn't quite go they wanted, but they still have a really good offense and a lot of really good defenders on the team. And those are 2 things that are really important, obviously, to winning games. And I think once they've obviously put a pretty importance and a premium here on adding a few starting pitchers, and I don't know what else we're going to do, but this is a team that really wasn't far off. They're one of the top offenses in the National League, and just a lot of good players that are either establishing themselves or that are obviously all-stars and some of the best players to play in our generation. So I saw a team that really wasn't that far off from being the normal Cardinals teams that fans are used to seeing. And, we're excited to get back to being that and hopefully being, even better and pushing for a World Series, because that's what everybody wants to do. And, that's one of the main reasons why I came here. I knew the Cardinals were going to win.
New Cardinal right-hander Kyle Gibson with us for a few more moments here on 101 ESPN. Kyle, we've talked about what you've done with Big League Impact and how you use your platform, and we all really appreciate that. What are some of the charities that you are involved with that you really pay attention to?
Elizabeth and I have hosted a sporting clay shoot here a few times. We didn't get to do it this offseason because of the playoffs and stuff, but We really like to get involved with local food banks and food pantries. Last time we hosted that shoot, we picked 3 or 4 food pantries here in Franklin County where we live, and just split the benefit up between them. Knowing that they impact thousands of people each month is something that we really wanted to be a part of. Crisis Aid International here locally in St. Louis is something that I was introduced to through Adam. And it's something that, they do so much great. I can't even they do work all over in all different ways to help people, whether it's backpack feeding program, single mothers, domestic violence. Like there's so many things they get involved with. And then something international that we're involved with is a group called Help One Now. We've been involved with them for the last few years in Haiti, helping them sustain and develop a high school that's the first one for within 30 miles of a lot of people in Haiti, and giving them a chance to graduate high school for the first time in their lives. So, there's a lot of things. We probably spread ourselves a little thin at times, but we've been really fortunate to find a lot of groups that do a lot of really great work.
Okay, last thing, you played on a couple of really successful teams over the last couple of years. Philly for the last, 2 years ago, and into 22 and 21, and then the Orioles last year. From your perspective as a starting pitcher and just a smart baseball guy, what's the common denominator among teams that succeed at a high level?
Oh, man. Wow, that's a great question. I think undoubtedly you're going to face adversity, and you're going to reach times, probably multiple times, where you either face an injury or you face a long losing streak or a tough part of your schedule, maybe a tough road trip. And I think, the relationships on the team and, how kind of gritty that team is has a big impact on how that team makes it through those times. I think accountability is a big part of it, because I think undoubtedly people are going to mess up. People are going to make mistakes, and, you got to be able to kind of own up to that and hold each other accountable. And I think that's part of the grittiness. It's part of being able to show up to work knowing that, hey, that guy next to me, we're pushing for the same goal. And even if I mess up or he messes up, it doesn't change how we look at each other. But we are going to make sure that we try to not do that again, and we're going to, work toward that same goal. But, being gritty and kind of, being able to work through those hard times, I think it's something that is really important for a winning team.
Finally, Kerry Davis played in the NFL, so he understands essentially being away from home for half the year. How cool is it going to be for you that you get to sleep in your own bed for 3 months out of the year? Ordinarily, you're on the road, right?
Yeah, that was obviously one of the main draws here for the last few years, trying to be back in St. Louis. We've got 4 kids, and our oldest, Hayden, is 9, going to be 10 in spring training. And, they are really getting into a lot of activities and getting into different things that they're passionate about. And it gives me a chance to be around for more of those times, and to feel like I can, be even hopefully a better dad and a better husband. So, it's going to be exciting. They're excited to be able to celebrate with their friends when the Cardinals win, and to be able to enjoy those moments too, because they're surrounded by a lot of Cardinals fans at school.
Well, Kyle, you're surrounded by Cardinal fans here. Thanks so much for the time. Welcome to the Cardinals, and thanks for what you've done for us over the years here at 101 ESPN, and I'm sure that we'll talk as the season unfolds and as you have events.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you. Look forward to talking more.
Thanks, Kyle. Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander here on 101 ESPN, and Vice President at Big League Impact. And so a lot of the work that Adam Wainwright, and Adam's not going to stop. Adam's still going to be heavily involved, but Kyle is boots on the ground for Big League Impact right here in St. Louis, along with Tommy Edmond and Miles Michaelis. Those guys are going to do great things for our community.
Indeed.
I like the Kicking It with Kyle CD. I think that's a great name for it.
We'll set that up.
Putting it together.
Yeah. I think you just made a deal for us on the air.
Hey, that's why I said it.
Wheeling and dealing.
Bradford Bruns, do you have a fight or do you need one?
We are ready to go. Josh K embraces this challenge today.
Ooh, Josh gets to fight. Coming up next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Gibson gets the platform. Good morning. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Minutes ago, the opening drive crew visited with new Cardinals right-hander Kyle Gibson. Coming off of a 15-win season with the O's, the veteran discussed his arrival in the Gateway City.
In the last few years, I just don't know that the organization was in a spot to bring me in, and that's okay. And I tried. Would love to have been here a few years ago, but that's just how it goes. Organizations have plans, and I was meant to be somewhere else, but thankful that this year it's worked out, and I'm really excited to be here, and for a lot of reasons.
That full conversation will be available after the show on 101ESPN.com. Pucks, the Blues down the Sabres 6-4 on Thursday night. Tomorrow, the Coyotes welcome the Note to Arizona. Pregame unfolding at 7 on 101 ESPN. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One. Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley.
Yes.
Got it right today.
Yesterday, you looked like you didn't know who I was. I was like, am I Brooke? I don't know.
Are you Brooke? And it is time for the fight. Our fighter today is Josh. Josh, how you doing?
Doing good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, Josh. So I see you on the YouTube chat. You said, should you do it Randy style? So are you going to do it Randy style?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, why not?
Wow.
There we go. That's it.
This is bold, Josh. Also, by the way, you have been texting in for so long, so this is going to be, is this your first fight?
Oh, no. I've beat Randy a lot.
Oh. So
not enough to get to the Hall of Fame.
Do you want to do it Randy style, or do you want to have the options? And we'll give you one more. We don't want to pressure you into that.
Do it.
I'll do it Randy style.
Yes.
There we go. All right. On Sunday, the 49ers and the Eagles will square off in a rematch of January's NFC title game. Philly pulverized San Francisco in that contest 31-7. Name the only 49er who managed to score a touchdown.
My goodness. Sorry, when was this game?
Last year. January, NFC Championship.
Let's go with the obvious, CMC.
All right.
Major League Baseball legend Hank Aaron ranks first all-time in total bases with 6,856. Who comes in second on the list with 6,211 total bases?
Seems like either Barry Bonds or Alex Rodriguez, maybe. I'm going to go with our Babe Ruth. I think I'm going to go Barry Bonds. Final answer.
Blues captain Braden Shen scored his 7th and 8th goals of the season last night in the 6-4 triumph over Buffalo. Which team selected Shen with the 5th overall pick in the 2009 NHL draft?
Give me the options on this one, please.
Is it the Flyers, the Kings, or the Avalanche?
My first thought was Flyers. I think maybe Kings. I'll stick with Flyers.
Final question, Josh. Tonight on 101 ESPN, the Washington Huskies look to stay undefeated by knocking off the Oregon Ducks in the Pac-12 championship game. When Washington earned a split national title in 1991, who was the program's head coach?
Should have saved my options for this one. I have no clue. I honestly don't know. I don't know what name to throw out. Bill Walsh.
Right.
100% not right.
He's on the West Coast.
He was busy coaching in the NFL right there.
Yeah, he was in the 90s. Yeah, that's okay. How was it? So I'm glad you did it, Randy style, because we often get people texting in, Randy, hurry up, the time clock. You're taking too long. You're doing it. And so therefore, they get to see what it sounds like when you don't have the options, how difficult it can be. So I will commend you on that. Randy, say hello to Josh.
I appreciate it. That sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, that's
Randy
great.
knows. So Randy, he didn't use any options. He went Randy style.
Oh, nice. Good for you, Josh. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for playing, and I admire that. That's cool.
All right,
Randy.
Randy, you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Okay.
On Sunday, the 49ers and the Eagles square off in a rematch of January's NFC title game. Philly pulverized San Francisco in that contest 31-7. Named the only 49er who managed to score a touchdown.
Did not Christian McCaffrey have a record or closed in on a record, 18 consecutive games, regular and postseason with a touchdown? I will go with Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Question number 2. Major League Baseball legend Hank Aaron ranks first all-time in total bases with 6,856. Who comes in second on that list with 6,211 total bases?
I'm going to go with Stan the Man.
Blues captain Braden Shen scored his 7th and 8th goals of the season last night in the 6-4 triumph over Buffalo. Mm-hmm. What team selected Shen with the 5th overall pick in the 2009 NHL draft?
LA Kings.
Final question. Tonight on 101 ESPN, the Washington Huskies, look to stay undefeated by knocking off the Oregon Ducks in the Pac-12 championship game. When Washington earned a split national title in 1991, who was the program's head coach?
Who was Washington's head coach when they won what DeMarco Farr says is not a split national championship in 1991? I would say that would have been Don James, DeMarco's coach for college for life, Don James. Also a mentor for Gary Pinkel. And Nick Saban.
So here we are on a Friday. Randy looking to complete the sweep for the week. Josh feeling emboldened this morning. He gets after it, eschews the options, eschews the choices. Will Randy take this one home and do so in authoritative fashion? To the judges.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
There you have it. Another perfect week for Randy. Josh, nice performance today. Let's go through the results, though. A couple of interesting answers on this occasion. Starting at the top with number 1, Eagles, 49ers, squaring off this Sunday in that NFC title game rematch. It was CMC last year on January 29th, I believe, dashing in from 23 yards out. Otherwise, the 49ers were absolutely throttled.
Josh Johnson,
the Josh Johnson game, yes. It was his, 15th franchise at that time?
I think so,
yeah, something like that. Hank Aaron, number 1 all-time in Major League Baseball history, 6,856 total bases. Loved coming up with this one. Number 2 on the list. It was, as recently as a number of months ago, Stan the Man. Nonetheless, Albert Pujols on the night on which he hit 2 home runs to get to 692, I believe, pre-700, actually passed Stan on that night. He is number 2 now with 6,211. Braden Shen, triumphant night against the Sabres, just like Jake Neighbors and a host of others. What team selected Shen? Number 5 overall in 2009. That was the Los Angeles Kings franchise after he came over from the WHL. And finally, tonight on 101 ESPN, we have the Huskies and the Ducks Pac-12 style championship game affair in 1991, the alleged split national championship squad. It was not Dennis Erickson. Dennis Erickson was a choice, and he actually helmed the Miami squad that year. Correct? Yes, he did. Don James was the man. Don James was the answer for Randy. So it is a victory by the score of 3-1 today. But Josh, appreciate your persistence in getting through. Nice work today, and have a great weekend, sir.
All right, thanks, guys. Had fun.
Thanks, Josh.
Really
Way to
good.
go.
That was
Good job, Josh.
The fact that Josh wanted to do that Randy style, I commend him so much for that.
Yeah, me
and
too.
He was close. I mean, he had one of the answers was Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was on the list. He chose Barry Bonds. It wasn't right. And then he said he thought about the Kings and the Flyers, and he went with the Flyers instead of the Kings. So he was very close. Now he did say Bill Walsh for the Pac-12 championship, Pac-12 winning team.
Oh,
Washington Huskies.
At Washington.
He's on the West Coast, but he was
a little further north.
49ers.
Yep. Coming up, it's our weekly visit with Joe Vitale. Joey V is next on 101 ESPN. One of my favorite things that I do here at Hubbard is conducting Sound Story interviews. And what Sound Story is the ability for you to have a podcast interview done with parents or family members or friends where they tell their life story to either me or Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter. And then you have an audio file of that hour-long podcast for life so that you and your kids and your grandkids can all get a chance to hear members of their family. And at this time of year, when everyone is thinking of the perfect gift for the holidays, a Sound Story is a great way to go. And right now, you can get it in a great deal, too. With Sound Story, you can go to mysoundstory.com and go in on a gift certificate for your parents and get them a Sound Story starting at just $399. MySoundStory.com is the website to go to now until the end of the day. Enter the promo code ESPN and you get 20% off that Sound Story gift certificate. Just go to MySoundStory.com and enter promo code ESPN to get this holiday special of 20% off a certificate for Sound Story. That's promo code ESPN at MySoundStory.com. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Joey Vitale views things a little differently. Just imagine how he looks at hockey. Whoa. This is The View from Vitale, brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Brooke and Carrie and Randy, and Joey is on the line with us here on 101 ESPN. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Randy, Brooke, Carrie, how you guys doing today? Doing great.
We know that on Friday mornings you run with a group of guys. This morning it was kind of cool and damp. I wanted to know, Joey V, do you wear different shoes on a morning like today as opposed to a sunny 64-degree day?
Yeah, listen, it's the lawn shoes. Every dad should have a pair of lawn shoes. We all know that. You know, it's the old pair of tennis shoes that are all worn and torn, maybe a little discolored, that your wife says, let's clean house a little bit. I got to get rid of some things. These shoes are so beat up. Like, no, honey. Those are my rainy run shoes and / lawn care shoes that you don't want to get your nice shoes messed up in. Absolutely.
Joey, I was wondering, are you more of a morning person, midday, or an evening person?
Carrie, I got 5 kids. I'm all the above. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice in the matter anymore. You know, yeah, I mean, listen, life before kids, you know, I love my mornings. I love taking my time, you know, getting up. Jim Brewer has a great stand-up about this. But he's like, you know, hey, before kids, you kind of wake up slow and all of a sudden you get toddlers in the house. It's like 5 a.m. It's like boom. It's like a bomb goes off, you know. And that's how it is, you know. But at the same time, as early as our mornings are, my second youngest, Birdie, she is an early bird. We named her right, Birdie, because she is an early bird. She gets up and as frustrating as it can be at times, and we tried to give the old, hey, when the sun's up, you get up. We've tried all that. They have these stoplights. They have these stoplight alarm clocks now where it's red at night, and then you can set it to, like, let's say 6:30 in the morning. So at 6:30, it goes from red to green. And I think she's colorblind. I don't know. She doesn't understand the colors or something because she's still getting out before things turning green. But at the same time, on the flip side, it's always great to hear those little feet come sprinting down the hall because before you know it, one day it's going to be gone.
Joey V, if I'm driving at night and there are blinking yellow lights, my color blindness precludes me from being able to tell that difference. I stop at blinking yellow lights until I make sure that it's not the lights on top, the red, but it's the lights in the middle that are blinking.
So you're telling me you don't just continue to drive through blinking yellow lights?
No, but fortunately, I also don't continue to drive through blinking red lights.
Okay, you're a danger to society, Andy. I mean, you got to think about the people behind you. Blinking yellow means proceed with caution.
I know it.
Okay, I know you know it, but why aren't you doing it?
Because here's the thing: I can't. They look red to me as I'm approaching them.
You know, that may be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
You may not want to tell too many people that, especially the driving bureau of Missouri, because they may invoke your license on that one.
Yeah, I just told them.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just told them exactly right. Yeah, the blinking yellow, proceed with caution. The blinking red, of course, then you got to stop. Consider it a stop sign. But, you know, when I'm driving with my kids, too, I pretty much run every yellow light, and when they do it, they're like, "Dad!" I go, "No, it's orange. It was orange. It was a blend." You know now. When I say, "What does green mean?" They say, "Go." They say, "What does red mean?" They say, "Stop." I said, "What does yellow mean?" And they always say, "Dad says it says, hold on." We're living on the edge, folks.
Oh, man. Joey, I have a very important question for you. And this kind of caused some controversy in our show earlier today. Somebody texted in that they find the song All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey annoying. We don't think it's annoying. What do you think?
You know what? I got to be honest with you. I freaking love that song.
Yes.
I mean,
thank you.
You know, the more I listen, I don't know what it is. It seems like the different Christmas movies that come out, they always find some way to put this one into it. You know, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time is Love Actually. And, of course, at the very end of that movie, there's like a kid's musical, and a young lady does a great job singing that song. And I don't know, guys. I mean, it's like that song where even when you hate it, you have to also love it because it's just such a part of Christmas. And, it's good beat, good music, great voice by Mariah Carey. I think I take your side on this one, Brooke. I love it.
Agreed.
Do you think, what is the worst, or do you think there is a annoying Christmas song? Is there one you don't like?
There's just not. I mean, I can't think of one. I mean, any time you throw any of them on, I think especially this time of the year, it's all thumbs up for me. I mean, the Frosties, the Santa Claus is coming to town, and we got a really nice variety across the board in our house, kind of consistently growing up and moving through the different stages. But, it's a Christmas movie night at least twice a week in the Vitale household from December 1st on. That doggone elf showed up last night. We were talking about it on the broadcast there a little bit. Alex Ferrario had no idea what this elf was.
Really?
And I said, Alex, listen, you cannot know about it all you want, but it's coming. It's coming for you whether you like it or not. So we had to give him a little education about getting prepared for the elf. And yeah, ours is hanging on the front mantle candle holder right now, and he decided to get into the Cheerios box last night, that little Dickens. He wrote with the Cheerios on back, and now I got Cheerios all over the floor, so I'll be cleaning that up later.
Hey, Joey V, when you watched last night what Jordan Kyrou did, and he didn't score any goals, but when you see the skill, you really can get an idea as to why the Blues gave him the contract, because he is a really gifted hockey player, Kyrou is, isn't he?
Listen, I think he's over the game. I said this during the minute.
Whoop, hold on, Joey, you cut out there. Let's see if we can get Joey back.
We lost
Hold on.
you.
Well, I'm sure he still talking. He probably has no idea.
Joey.
Yeah, we lost Joey.
We need
us.
to get this answer. So
Yes.
we'll call him back and we'll get that.
And that was going to be a big answer, too.
It was.
He
Yeah.
was talking about what he said on the broadcast.
Yeah.
How great Kyrou is going to be. Or is.
Well, it's he's had obviously some bad breaks this year. We've talked about it, and last year he definitely had his issues in terms of playing a 200-foot game. Slowly but surely, things are coming together. The 200-foot game, you can control that, and now it's just a matter of getting the puck to go in.
I think that's probably the most impressive thing is we haven't complained about his defense this year or lack thereof. I think it hasn't been as glaring as it was last year. So
we have Joey back. Joey, thanks for rejoining us. We missed the very first part of your answer when I mentioned that Kyrou is such a gifted player, and you can see why the Blues gave him that contract.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I lost you. I think that my elf is playing tricks on me again, messing with the Wi-Fi signal in my house. Listen, Jordan, and I said this during the Minnesota game a couple days ago, where the Blues struggled in that game. And I was saying on the broadcast that this is the game where your team's struggling. You need those elite players just to do something amazing in the game. Maybe the flip of the wrist, a shot on goal, a speed burst, something to create something in this game. And we didn't see it out of Jordan. And, for an elite player that's making as much money as he is, you're not going to have it every single game. But you can't go 2, 3, 4 games without it being seen either. It's off for one game, back on for 3. Maybe you take one off, you're back on for 5. So big time players like him, they have to get streaky and they have to produce and they have to turn the game over. That's what happened last night. Look at the game. It was a little bit back and forth. They tied up at 3 after a 3-goal lead. Buffalo comes storming back. Chief calls a timeout, and then that Kyrou with Shen and Hazeline really took over the game. But it was really led by Kyrou. His speed on both plays, driving up through the ice, cutting to the outside, cutting to the middle, finding plays on the back door, one to Hayes, one to Shen. 2 primary assists back-to-back to make it a 5-3 game, which then, of course, it was out of reach. It wasn't just the primary assist either. I mean, I thought the way he back-checked, the way he battled, I think this was a great line that Craig Berube put around him with Hayes and Shen, 2 veteran guys that are going to kind of help communicate things and get through to him as well about how to play. But overall, just a wonderful performance for Jordan Kyrou there last night. And keep in mind, guys, one thing about him has been very consistent. When he has one game, he can get very streaky. All of a sudden, 2 turns into 3, 3 to 4, and this can start snowballing in the right direction for number 25.
Joey, can you talk to us about Jake Neighbors? He's the team leader in goals right now. He's a young player that seems to have a really good demeanor. What is his ceiling in this league?
I think that one day, Kerry, he's going to be a 35, 40 goal scorer. I really mean that because he comes in with so many tools in the National Hockey League. He was a point-munching guy in junior. He's got a great knack for the net. He's got really quick hands. And he understands, one thing about this game that has not changed is that if you want to have success, if you want to have offensive success, you got to get to the front of the net. With this game evolving in the skill set and the way players are getting these skills coaches, so much of it has become more to the perimeter, more to the outside, where you're looking at a Connor Bedard who's doing some fancy things, but mostly it's to the outside. Jake Neighbors has that, but also he has this whole other this idea that, you know, the success of you scoring goals, they're not always going to be pretty shots from the outside. They're going to be muck and grind ones like we saw last night. I mean, his first goal was a perfect example. He plants his rear end right in front of Luukkonen, right on top of the blue paint, shot from the outside by Leddy. He gets the rebound on his knees and he buries it. I mean, more goals than not are going to happen that way. And as he approaches the 10-goal mark, I mean, he's really on pace right now. If you look at it, just shy of 40. So I know he will slow down a little bit. I mean, he's not going to continue this, I think, forever. But one day in 2-3 years when he kind of really enters that prime of his career, I think without a doubt he could be a 40-goal scorer in this league, 80, maybe even 90 points one day if he continues to stay healthy and be around it. But super skilled. He plays on his toes. He plays physical. He's a learner. He's a sponge. He's been around the O'Reillys and the Shens his entire NHL career so far. So he's been around great examples, and he's just soaked it all in. He's a wonderful kid, wonderful attitude, and just a great disposition, like you mentioned. He's got everything it takes to be a 40-goal scorer in the National Hockey League one day.
Joey V, always good to have you with us. Safe travels as the Blues head back out on the road, and have yourself a very good weekend, and beware of the elf.
Yes, you guys as well. Good luck to you guys, and great talking to you, and have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thanks, Joe. Joe Vitale with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got our rush hour reset on the opening drive.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One. We're recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a rush hour reset.
The Blues with a 6-4 win last night over the Buffalo Sabres at Enterprise Center. Jake Neighbors had a couple of goals. So did the Blues captain, Brayden Schenn.
Here's Kyrou in for the Blues to the middle of the ice. Centers it. They shoot. They score! Schenn, his second of the game. The Blues back up by 2. It's 5-3. 6:32 to play. Second period. Unbelievable.
Jake Neighbors would score another one. Buffalo got a late tally, and the Blues win it by a score of 6-4. And as we sit right now, the Blues still own that top wild card spot in the Western Conference, and they're only a point out of third in the NHL Central Division.
You know what I liked last night at the very end of the game? Brayden Schenn had a chance to get a hat trick, right? And he was looking for Jake Neighbors to get him the hat trick. I think that as a captain, as a veteran, trying to get the young guy who is, as I said, ascending in the right direction, get him the hat trick as opposed to getting it for yourself. A, that's what captains are supposed to do, and B, that's what really good teams and teammates do. They look out for one another. You try to feed the guy to make sure that he gets, something that record a hat trick when. I thought that was really cool. It didn't happen, but I thought the notion and the thought of it was really cool.
I just like seeing Jake Neighbors really getting rewarded for his hard work. And Craig Berube is the type of head coach. Why I really admire him so much is that when somebody is putting in that hard work, he makes sure that they get what they deserve. And he has earned his keep on that top line. Also, top power play unit. Jake Neighbors has been a huge asset on that. I felt like he really just changed the game with those 2 assists that we saw from him. And even though the goals aren't right there what you expect for Jordan Kyrou, the fact that he's finding other ways to contribute, to me, that was a huge game for Jordan Kyrou and the game that I wanted to see response-wise while he's been kind of moving around on the different lines.
And the Blues 6-4 in their last 10. They're at Arizona tomorrow night. We'll have the pregame for you at 7, the action at 8 here on 101 ESPN. On Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys rallied for a 41-35 win over the Seahawks. The Cowboys now 9-3 on the season. And a big weekend of college football here on 101 ESPN tonight. The Pac-12 championship game, Oregon and Washington. Pregame at 6 here on 101 ESPN. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., the pregame for the Big 12 championship. That one has the Texas Longhorns taking on Oklahoma State. And then the SEC championship, Alabama and Georgia. Pregame tomorrow at 2:30 with the action at 3 here on 101 ESPN.
Some good games. I'm looking forward to that game tonight. Watching the Pac-12 championship game. I think Oregon, for me, is that loss really stings to them losing to Washington in the manner in which they did at Washington. Getting a chance to make up for that wrong, I think they're going to be excited for that. Oregon's a really good team.
Really good.
And have been all season long. And they are a team that I truly think nobody wants to see in the college football playoffs because they have a lot. They have a lot of dynamic players. So that's going to be a really good game tonight. And the fact that Washington is a 10-point underdog, you said, is absolutely disturbing to me. But,
Vegas knows what they're doing.
Field in
Do
Vegas.
they always, though?
They are really good.
They get it right.
They get paid a lot of money to figure these things out.
Well, they have all those big buildings there, right?
Yeah, they do. And they keep building them.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that one time that they thought that Will Levis was going to go. What was it? Do you remember the betting odds?
That might have been Reddit.
Yeah. Reddit caused it to make that change. So,
By the way, Bo Nix, the quarterback for Oregon,
he's like on his 7th year.
Yeah, he's a fifth-year senior. He's had 13-24.
For a while.
I thought he was at Auburn for like 5 years, so he's only 3.
Back in the day, Bill Parcells said that one of his qualifiers to draft a quarterback was he had to have at least 30 college starts. This guy's going to have 60.
Double that.
Plus a bowl game.
Coach Walsh, here you go. Look at my track record.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
One other note here, and I want to get your take on this. LeBron James has told teammates that when his son makes his debut for USC, Bronny, if there is a conflict with the Lakers' schedule, he'll skip the Lakers to watch Bronny play a college game. LeBron's already done everything. He's not going to win any more championships. The Lakers they should just be able to win without him. If the circumstances were a little bit different, if it wasn't LeBron, I would feel differently. But I have no problem with him doing this. I know.
CD's bursting at the seams to get this out.
I mean, I feel like it's, I don't know, man. Maybe you're taking advantage of your situation, being who you are, and knowing that as a teammate, I feel like LeBron is one of those teammates that when he does things wrong, he doesn't get called out on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like whether it's not getting back on defense or complaining to the refs and now we're 4-on-5. I don't think he has a teammate that holds him accountable, which if nobody holds the leader accountable, including the coaches, how much of a leader can you truly be? That bothers me. I mean, because, if you have a teammate that chooses not to get back on the plane when we're traveling to another city after a game, that's problematic. It shows that you are more important than the team. And I don't care, no one. I get it. Everyone is not treated equally. We'll all be treated fairly, but we're not going to be treated equally. We'll get different things. But as a teammate, that's kind of strange.
But he knows they aren't winning any championships this year. He's smart enough to realize it.
That doesn't.
And the other part is there, like you said, there isn't a player in the league. LeBron is the one player that nobody is going to be able to hold accountable. And I would, and if it would be different if he was at a different stage of his career. But he really has done everything. And even now at 37, 38, the Lakers are no good without him. So they kind of have to live with the fact that he's a prima donna.
But again, as a teammate, a man, I've been on plenty of teams. You, especially as the leader of a team, you have to hold yourself to a certain standard and hold yourself accountable. Now, I understand Bronny James had, the cardiac event, and maybe there's some concern. Mom, hey, you're going to the game. I don't care if we're playing tonight. Mom, you go to the game. Take the kids. You all be there. If we have a conflict and I cannot be there, if it's the same day, I'm keeping me up to date and make sure everything is okay. But I'm here with my team trying to. I just think it sends the wrong message to your teammates. Like, yeah, this is more. I'm on my way out. You guys do whatever the hell you're gonna do.
But I think those teammates probably already know that.
Yeah, but you don't have to show them that.
Yeah,
they can think it, but to show them. That's why you don't do that.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that, CD. I do understand that was a very scary situation with Bronny last season, and I'm glad that he's going to be back and playing. But still, you're committing to something. You're committing to that role that you're going to be playing. You have that deal going on. You have your contract. You committed to be a part of this team. I think that you need to be staying there and playing with them. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, it's a great debate. There are players that don't think a player should leave a team to see the birth of his baby. So
I think that's different. Now, that is a little different. But, to each his own.
Remember that Bears guy a couple of years ago? I don't remember who it was. It was a quarterback for the Bears who said that, if I have to miss a game because my wife goes into labor, so be it. And it was a big kerfuffle. It happened.
I think that is different. The birth of a child.
I agree.
But a basketball game. And again, maybe it's because of the cardiac event that he had earlier this year. Maybe that's the detail that is being left out. I want to be, but I don't know.
That is your Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN, where it's 9:13. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. On Sunday night, we'll know who Mizzou is going to play in a bowl game. Who does the Hall of Fame voice of the Tigers hope to visit? What city? That's next with Mike Kelly joining us on 101 ESPN. Hey, I have a question for you about gutters at home, and it's really interesting. When you're putting up your Christmas lights and realize maybe your gutters are in terrible condition, if you don't know where to turn, then we recommend you call Gutter Pros. Now is the perfect time to get a free estimate on gutters, and also a great time to have new gutters installed. Gutter Pros works year-round with the exception of ice and snow, and can install your gutters even in the winter. And you might not realize this, but there are different sizes of gutters that can help you out and help the water flow better. for your home at gutterpros.com. They know that a lot of homes, my home probably has 5-inch residential gutters. Well, they have 6-inch gutters that will enhance the flow of the water throughout your home, off of the roof and out of your home, and it makes a huge difference. Go to gutterpros.com to learn more. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They get 4.9 out of 5 stars on their reviews. They're all about St. Louis. Sales manager, born, raised right here in St. Louis, and knows the area, and they know about us as St. Louisans. If you're in the market for new gutters, it's gutterpros.com.
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN.
It's the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN with MTSU grad Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us on 101 ESPN. Why did you give me that look, Brooke?
Because you want Mike Kelly to roast me again about Middle Tennessee. I know it.
Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers and new member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, joining us now on 101 ESPN.
Congratulations.
My good longtime friend, Mike Kelly. Good morning, sir, and congratulations. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I'm good. Better than Rick Stockstill.
Oh, yes! Yes! Do it! Go ahead! Well played!
Oh, my gosh!
Well played!
Wow! The fact that you even knew that happened! Oh, my gosh!
Paying attention. Who knows what's going on in college football?
I think I got to exit the room. He just obliterated me. Mike, Rick Stockstill is a great coach. We are very sad to see him go at Middle Tennessee State University.
Yeah, it's sad. I hate to see anybody lose their job, but golly, Randall just teed it up. So
I know. I knew it was coming.
I've known this guy since August of 1988, and he's always really good about just setting you up with just things that and you just know, hey, here's a chance to just
take a big hard swing, and there it was.
Hey, Mike, how much fun was this football season for you? Because Mizzou was not picked to finish at the top of the SEC East. It was. I always love surprises. So, from your perspective, how much fun did you have?
Well, it was great, Randy. It's just great to be relevant again, right? It happens every 10 years. So, now you got to find the consistency. So, the interesting thing is, and Randy, you know me well enough that I think you're going to understand where I'm coming from. I saw those preseason projections and I heard all of it, but I missed 2 practices during the preseason. And I kept watching this team play, and I'm like, this is clearly not only Eli Drinkwitz's best team in Missouri. This is a team that's got a chance because of the favorable schedule. I thought on the high side of things they could win 10. I thought on the low side of the things it would be a team that would win at least 7 games. And they went out and took care of business. And you look back and my gosh, if you could have had an answer for Jaden Daniels, which few people did throughout the course of the season, maybe you win number 11. So, and then think about the possibilities. So, it was fun. It was a fun season. Great to be a part of. Play a small little role, and now look forward to Sunday and see where you head from here.
Mike, obviously a great season by the Mizzou Tigers and has been fantastic. Each year your team is different. So this team will be a completely different team next year. How do they keep that consistency going forward?
That's the ultimate question, right, Kerry? And so you think about guys that will return. Brady Cook will return. Luther Burden III will return. There's a chance that Theo Weiss could return. On the offensive line, Connor Tollison at center will return. Amon Mimbu will return. And so, you got to go into the portal. You got to dive in. You got to find a couple of tackles. You got to find a running back, I think, in the portal. I think that's going to be a goal. What does Theo Weiss do? If Theo Weiss elects to come back for another year, that gives you basically your entire receiving core back with the exception of Mookie Cooper. But Mekhi Miller's a young, talented kid. I mean, you've seen other guys that got playing time during the season. And then on the defensive side, you're going to lose a lot of people up front. And so, again, I think you're going to have to dive into the portal for, a couple of defensive end, a couple of defensive tackles, and certainly you're going to have to dive in for, in the secondary for a couple of cornerbacks and also probably a couple of safeties as well.
Mike, one other name I want to bring up is Brett Norfleet, because he all of a sudden has become a receiver that it seems like is going to get a lot of attention from the Mizzou offense next year too.
Yeah, and a kid you watch him during it looks so natural for him early on, going back to camp where, he just was kind of still finding his way a little bit, but then once he started making plays, it was like, man, it just looks so natural. And so to see him become, a target late in the season and basically scored 2 touchdowns in 14 seconds at Arkansas on the same play. And it was completely left uncovered on both of those plays, which Brett and I kind of laughed about afterwards when I was getting on the plane on the flight home. But you get some depth there too. I mean, Tyler Stevens will lose his eligibility. It'll come to an end. But the young kid, Jordan Harris, who's only played 2 years of football prior to this year, from Little Rock, Arkansas, is a young kid that they're extremely excited about his future. So, I feel good, but you got to recruit. Hey, let's face it, when the portal opens, and right now Missouri's got 7 kids in the portal, or that have said that they're going to go into the portal. Every coach in college football now is focusing on, continuing to protect the class that they have, and continuing to build on it, but then also continuing to re-recruit their roster.
Mike, as you mentioned earlier, we're all excited to see which bowl Mizzou will get. Personally, which one do you hope that Mizzou will get an opponent?
Well, Randy will tell you I am an extremely selfish individual. And if you could spend 4 days in Tempe, I think that'd be really, really fun.
Agreed.
But I don't know that that's going to happen. I mean, as it was explained to me by Desiree Reed-Francois Tuesday in Pittsburgh prior to the basketball game, the days of lobbying are over, right? The backroom lobbying that used to take place. The college, when it comes to the New Year's 6 games, the College Football Playoff Committee slots those games. And so the way it's been explained to me is that if you look at the Fiesta Bowl, the group of 5 team would have to go there. So is that Tulane if they went out? Could that possibly be Liberty if there's an upset? So then they need to slot in that opponent for that school. The Orange Bowl has an ACC tie, so they have to take an ACC tie. So you figure that that's going to be Florida State or it's going to be Louisville. And then probably an Ohio State, gets slotted into the Orange Bowl, which I think probably means that Missouri is probably going to one of 2 bowls, either the Cotton Bowl or the Peach Bowl, both of which would be, fantastic experiences. Missouri was at the Cotton Bowl 10 years ago, and had actually 9 years ago officially, but that'd be a wonderful experience. I guess it was 10 years ago. So, and then the Peach Bowl, Missouri's never played it, so and that's easy to get to being in Atlanta. So, I mean, for me, again, I'd love to go to the Fiesta Bowl. I think this time of the year, being a chance to be in Arizona, but it becomes difficult and more expensive for your fans to follow, and so you have to have. You have to, I guess, hope that the committee does the right thing for your fan base. And if you look at just purely size of fan base, the Cotton Bowl and the Dallas market is where Missouri has the most alums. And so, to be determined, I guess, is the answer. But, selfish old Mike would like to go to the desert.
Mike, Cody Schrader's story has been one of the best stories of college football. Can you just talk about what he's meant to this Mizzou team and how well he's been playing all season long?
He's the spiritual, emotional leader. I mean, people feed off of the reckless abandon in which he plays, and he's the ultimate. He's the ultimate true son, like Brady Cook. He's the ultimate, guy that believed in himself more than anybody else. Bet on himself. Arrived at Missouri as the 8th team running back. And just went out and started scratching and clawing for playing time. And now the legend of Cody Schrader, another chapter seems to be written every time that he gets a chance to play in the game. I mean, it's a really cool story for any young kid that believes in himself.
Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers, with us on 101 ESPN. And Mike is a kid who grew up in the area, and you and I both were at KMOX to start our careers. What was it like during a broadcast when you found out that you were going to be inducted into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame?
Randy, it was totally out of the blue. Wes Edwards, who's been a friend for a number of years, 30 years, going back to the days when he used to work for Mr. Shanahan at the Blues. His son Hanks works with us in the booth for every home game as our spotter. I look up, literally walked out of the booth, and there's Wes, Hanks, and Tracy, and I'm like, I just didn't even think anything of it. Oh, great, coming up to see your kid, and then he, kind of tells me about it and hands me this letter, and it was just totally out of the blue. Caught me by surprise. Didn't even know it was a possibility. I thought when I moved to Columbia those days, even the thought of being in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame was something that would never happen. So honored, flattered, surprised, and happy at the same time.
Very well deserved. You've had a Hall of Fame career, and you're still going strong. And glad that you get to do hopefully a New Year's 6 bowl game. We were kind of we're kind of worried here if Alabama winds up winning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That could kind of knock us out of the New Year's 6, right?
Yeah. For me, and again, it's hard to imagine that a 12-1 Georgia team doesn't deserve an opportunity, or an Alabama doesn't deserve an opportunity to play in the semifinals, right? But okay, you've got the core that says if Texas wins the Big 12 and if Alabama wins the SEC, don't you have to don't you have to respect the fact that Texas beat Alabama at Alabama during the regular season? That's the argument, right? So, if for some reason the SEC doesn't have a representative in the national semifinals, then that pushes everybody down one, you would imagine.
Yeah. Mike, have a great weekend. You got a basketball game tomorrow?
Sunday, the Shockers of Wichita State come to Como.
All right. Oh. Enjoy that one. Enjoy your holiday season. We'll talk to you soon. And again, congratulations. Have a great day.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
See you, Mike.
Care. Bye-bye.
That is Mike Kelly. He is the voice of the Tigers on 101 ESPN.
He obliterated me once again.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice setup. The fact that he stayed on top of that, of course, Mike Kelly stays on top of everything, but the fact that he threw that in there about Coach Stockstill.
Pretty impressive. Pretty good.
You set that up pretty well, Randy.
Thank you.
That was like D-Wade throwing it up to LeBron.
Yeah, alley-oop. Yep. Coming up on the 101 on Sports, coming up this Sunday, Brooke asks Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook what his favorite moment of the season was. What was your favorite moment of the season? We'll hear from Brady, and we want you to text in to the text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Your favorite 2023 Mizzou moment. Next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you about my experience a few weeks ago taking the Metrolink. So I decided to take it over to the Blues game because I didn't want to deal with the hassle of parking or having to get into traffic or even trying to call Uber. So Randy, I decided to take the Metrolink, and it was super easy to do. Did you know that it's just $5 for an all-day pass? So I got one for me and for David, and we went over to our Metro stop, which is right over by our house in University City. We just walked right over, and it was an easy ride that took us right in front of Enterprise Center. And I love supporting public transportation because it does so much for the community, even if you don't ride.
Yeah, it gets people to more than sporting events, gets people to work and to their jobs. And that's why there is and always will be more riding on Metro than just the people. Whether you live in Richmond Heights or Fairview Heights or Maryland Heights, ride on with Metro. And understand that a healthy Metro is vital to the viability to attract more Fortune 500 companies to St. Louis. Metro does great things for St. Louis, and you should check it out. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
You know, this was my fourth season here at Mizzou. I didn't expect this, to be preseason, hyped up, and, to have all of that hype and high rankings going into this season. I think we all knew what that was going to look like until we proved it, right? So I'm sure you've heard it, but our team really lives by the something to prove motto. And that started really last January. We said, listen, we know that we're not going to be ranked high in the preseason. People are going to doubt us. They're going to count us out because we've been through it before. And we haven't given them a reason not to. So, we told ourselves, this is the year. We have the pieces. Let's just go prove it. Prove ourselves right and prove them wrong.
That's Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook, who will be Brooke Grimsley's guest on the 101 on Sports on Sunday night at 11 on the 2 Fox. And one of the things that Brooke asked Brady Cook is what his favorite moment of the season was. Now, we want to hear yours. You can text in to the text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. But Brady Cook's favorite moment, you'd think 4th and 17, but no, it was the K-State game.
I mean, to be honest with you, it probably had the most personal feel of a football game I've ever played in. I remember standing up before the team on Friday of that week, so the day before the game, and just kind of telling the team what this game meant to me. I just kind of shared some of my feelings and, kind of what happened last year. But, the game last year, what I told the team was, they messed me up for a whole year. I'm still dealing with, just getting my shoulder back healthy and making sure it feels okay for this game, a whole year later. So it had a really, really personal feel to it. I'll never forget that game last year. But I'll also never forget the game versus K-State this year. So it was a personal game, and, man, I'm glad it ended how it ended.
Another reason why it was so personal to him, as he mentioned there, because he had that shoulder injury last season against Kansas State, and he had to get surgery. So you had that going on. And on top of that, we addressed in the interview, which you mentioned that you can listen to on Sunday, Randy, is that he heard the boos. And I know that there's a lot of talk of, okay, was it really fully directed at him? He said he used that as fuel and motivation. That's something that can typically either make or break somebody. Hearing some fans boo you is not a fun thing to hear, right? So that is another reason why he liked that K-State game. And that's why I would pick that one too, because I thought it was a great response, especially that MTSU game was a little too close. I'm not just saying that because I'm an MTSU alumni. It was a little too close for comfort. Randy, you were there for that game, and you were texting me worried about it.
I was.
I thought it was a great response and set the tone for the rest of the season for Mizzou.
I thought that, they've had an outstanding season, and so I'm sure there are many games you could choose from this year. Just knowing that you played this season at such a high level, you go down to Georgia, you don't finish the deal, but you had an opportunity there. That Tennessee game, I would have chosen because of what all was going on at that time. Just coming back from Georgia and knowing that Tennessee was coming in there and how they had been playing against Tennessee the last few years. I mean, that was a great moment to watch Mizzou play football. Brady Cook and obviously Cody Schrader had a hell of a game that night. But for me, that would be my Mizzou moment of the year. That was a game that I thought that they could possibly lose and probably should have lost, but they beat the brakes off of Tennessee and showed that they were a really good team.
And there's such a big difference between 10-2 and 9-3. And if you lose that Florida game, it's not just a loss, but it's a loss to an unranked team.
Yep.
And 4th and 17, it goes back to, doesn't matter how you get the win, just get the win. And 4th and 17, to me, was a pivotal moment for this season because we aren't talking New Year's Six Bowl if they don't hit that 4th and 17.
Yep.
We have some texts in coming in now of your favorite Mizzou moments, and we have one from the 636 that says, thicker kicker, 61-yard winner.
Huge. K-State, yep.
Yes, that was a huge one. Also, somebody mentioned their favorite moment is when Mizzou started living rent-free in Carey's head. That's their favorite moment?
That's cool. They don't live rent-free. I pay. Hey, Mizzou, every semester, pal, buddy, friend. It ain't rent-free for me. It costs me money.
It costs you money.
You know what happens sometimes with teams, too? And Mizzou, like you said, CD, when we were talking to Mike earlier, every team is different. But Last year, Mizzou hangs with Georgia, and this year on the road, they hang with Georgia. It would be so easy to go into Georgia and get beat 42-10, right? And I wonder how much of that proved to them that, hey, we can play with the biggest of boys.
Well, I think it proves it, but until you actually beat them, you're not completely convinced in your mind that it can be done. You have to actually win that game. I thought last year was their best opportunity because Georgia really looked like they were just overlooking Mizzou. And they had some opportunities this year. Like, again, you have the ball down 6 with a few minutes left in the game, and you turn it over, unfortunately, and then you get it back down 9, and you turn it over again. Those are opportunities that you can't have. You just have to, until you do it, it's hard to believe that it can be done. But they're on the verge of being a really good program. Now, again, the question is going to be, can they do it again next year? 1 year, one and done is not sufficient enough. You heard Mike Kelly talking about it. He's like, this is a 1 in 10 years. This is every 10 years we get one of these seasons. Make it 2 out of 10 years. Make it 3 out of 10 years. Make it back-to-back-to-back seasons, and that's when your program shifts. This is a vital point in the Missouri program because they were able to win 10 games. Now, can they go do it again next year?
And a big part of that is going to be how they develop to their players. And so this is what Brady Cook had to say about how Eli Drinkwitz helped develop him over the years.
Yeah, when I first got to Mizzou, he was the quarterback's coach, and he was my quarterback coach for really 2.5 years. So, a lot of what I learned about college football came from Coach Drink. And, when you first get to campus as a college quarterback, you really don't know anything, to be honest with you. It's a completely different game. It moves at a way faster speed, and he really just helped me navigate through that, start to just dissect what defenses run in this conference, how to operate and learn an offense. I think being able to operate and learn an offense very quickly as a quarterback is one of the most important things, and he taught me how to do that. And, it's taken some time, no doubt. But he's helped me a lot develop as a quarterback.
And you've seen that over the years with Brady Cook. I mean, we also talked about in the show the whole quarterback controversy at the beginning of the season and how he handled that. I think that watching Brady Cook really develop as a player and a leader has been really exciting to watch and a part of Mizzou's success this season. And you have to give credit to Eli Drinkwitz for developing him because he was just a 3-star, which I know, CD, I agree with you on your take on this. Sometimes those stars really do not mean anything, but still, he should get credit for helping develop 3 stars into what you're seeing now.
Well, you're going to have to. I mean, that's the road that Missouri and schools like Illinois and some of these other programs, you're not generally going to get the 4 or 5-star 15 guys that are 4 or 5 stars. You're going to get maybe 2 or 3 4-star kids. If you're lucky, you might fall into a 1-star. I mean, a 5-star, 1 5-star kid. And then the rest of those kids are going to be 3 stars or no stars. It's just the development, recruiting, scouting, and developing and getting those kids in there that just because they are a 2 or 3-star in high school doesn't mean that they will not be a professional athlete one day. It just means they haven't hit their peak yet, and it's your job as a coach to develop them into the best player that they can be.
And it's a pretty good place to start when you have a head coach, if he's there still, and I have no reason to believe that Eli won't, when he can develop a quarterback, because that's where it all starts. That's a good story from Brady Cook, and you can see the 101 on Sports Sunday night, 11 o'clock on the 2 Fox, and then right after that, the show will show up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL, where you can watch us every single day. And by the way, all of our interviews today, Mike Kelly, Joe Vitale, Jay Delsing, the rest of the gang, you can see, or hear at least, on 101ESPN.com and on the app, brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Center. We're going to head down the stretch with an edition of the
Grim Report
next on 101 ESPN.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is so important to make sure that your insurance is taken care of. And that's why, if you don't have health insurance, I urge you to get in touch with my friend Jordan Krugman, fellow Parkway North alum. He is the health insurance guy at thehealthinsuranceguy.net. His number is 314-602-4055, 314-602-4055. And people will tell you, I will tell you, health insurance is very complicated, but Jordan makes it simple. He has access to a wide variety of plans, and he's going to find the right plan for you and the right people at the right price. Never a broker fee with Jordan or hidden charges with the health insurance guy. He's going to meet you at his office. He can meet you over the phone, or he can meet you via a Zoom meeting. He's very convenient, and he'll save money for you. For example, a client's son recently got injured playing soccer. They took a trip to the ER, and due to how Jordan structured their plan, the $5,000 deductible was waived, and they only had to pay $100 out of pocket. If you're on Cobra, you need to contact Jordan Krugman, the health insurance guy. Open enrollment for Medicare now through December 7th. Healthcare.gov is a last resort. Contact Jordan Krugman, the health insurance guy, at thehealthinsuranceguy.net, 314-602-4055.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to Hootie and the Blowfish with special guest Collective Soul and Edwin McCain. On Saturday night, June 1st at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Don't miss Hootie and the Blowfish when they hit town this summer. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues get back on track at home. Good morning, I'm Bradford Bruns, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. After a tough loss to Minnesota on Tuesday, St. Louis rebounded with a 6-4 win over Buffalo last night. Braden Shin and Jake Neighbors each potting 2 goals. Tomorrow, another road tilt looms. Arizona hosting Craig Berube's bunch at 8 p.m. on 101 ESPN. Baseball, Shohei Ohtani nabbing the award for the major's top designated hitter locally. New Cardinals starter Kyle Gibson visited the opening drive in the 8 o'clock hour to discuss his mental approach.
I feel like when I switched my mentality a little bit to to not allow one inning to affect the next, and to make sure that, if I have a rough one, I go in, I check my report, I check my plan, and I, get my butt back to work, because there's still work to be done. When I stopped giving away innings, I think that made a big difference for me mentally and on the field.
The full interview now available online at 101ESPN.com. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Lawndoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at lawndoff.com and lawndoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
I want to rock. And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
It is time for Rock and Roll, a.k.a. this week with Rock Out.
The Grim Report.
I feel like I need Phantom of the Opera music coming in with that. So we're going to start things off with a wee bit of breaking news coming out this morning. A wee bit. Gabe Kapler is joining the Marlins front office. The Marlins are going to hire Gabe Kapler as their assistant general manager. As we know, this is not really his first foray into baseball operations. He served as the Dodgers farm director prior to being named the manager of the Phillies, and then he was the manager of the Giants. What do you guys think about this move for Gabe?
He's a bright baseball guy. I think it's a really interesting move. Obviously, Peter Bendix, who comes from the analytics-laden Rays front office, is in charge over there. I will be interested to see how the interaction works between Gabe Kapler and Skip Schumacher. Skip is a guy that doesn't use analytics to run his team. He uses them as a tool. And I don't know if Gabe Kapler has evolved to that point. In Philadelphia, remember when he started off in Philadelphia, everything was by the numbers. He became more of a people guy in San Francisco. I would think that they'll be on the same page, and he's a bright baseball guy. So I would give Gabe Kapler the benefit of the doubt here.
Oh, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I like his hand tattoo. Yep. It's kind of a...
Yep, he works out.
If you can't have a neck tat,
get your
then
hand tat.
Yep. There you go. All right, guys, now we're going to do, are they serious or are they joking, with some takes? And you might be saying, all right, yeah, there's some bad takes out there. Brooke, you even had one yourself where you thought that Will Levis was going to be the next coming of Steve McNair. But there's some takes that are even worse out there. CD liked that one. So we're going to play a game of, are they serious or are they joking? So yesterday, FS1 personality Craig Carton, he said something interesting about Dak Prescott becoming a new dad.
Dak Prescott will be a father soon in March. Congratulations, Dak Prescott.
That's a mistake.
My point to it all is, at the end of the day, it comes down to beating the Philadelphia Eagles.
Why'd you tell me that? That changes everything.
Why? What does that change?
There goes the Cowboys season.
How do you do that?
No, they just announced the pregnancy.
Are you not a fan of fatherhood?
I am a big fan of fatherhood. I'm blessed with 4 beautiful, healthy children.
So.
You have beautiful kids. You guys have kids as well.
Kids out there.
This is a terrible distraction now for Dak Prescott.
How?
He's not married, right? So now I got to question, is she a gold digger?
No,
she might not be. I got to question it, right? Number 3, you got everything going great. The last thing you need now is the distraction.
Shoot. What are you going to do? He's having a baby in March.
I hope they have a beautiful, healthy child.
And he's winning, by the way.
I hope it all works out.
It will.
But this is not what Cowboy fans want to hear.
So is he serious or is he joking with what he said?
He's got to be joking. There is no way that having a baby in March is going to distract a player.
When's the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's in February.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's joking.
Yeah, I think he's joking. But the part where he said, I got to check and see if she's a gold digger,
that was an extra.
You probably could have left that part out. That was weird.
That was weird.
That was strange.
No.
This is a strange take, by the way.
Yeah.
But the part that he was probably correct on is that Dallas Cowboy fans probably are worried about it. He said, people are crazy. People are weird, and they expect athletes to they truly expect you to go to work, practice, watch film, watch more film, lift weights, practice, and never do anything else with the rest of your day. If you're out getting groceries, why aren't you practicing? what, man?
Didn't that happen to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Why aren't you practicing? Bro, practice is over. Work is done. Why aren't you at work, fool? What the hell are you doing? Why are you bothering me? I'm at the grocery store trying to get some food, man.
You don't have it just delivered straight to you, a caterer at the house?
I actually have other things to do in life other than... Do any of us work 24 hours a day?
No.
Okay, then.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Randy does. I'm sorry.
Thought I saw John Kioski walking by.
I hope that he's not serious. So for the second and last one, there's always been a great debate on why exactly Tyreek Hill left Kansas City. And recently, Tyreek was on RG3's podcast, and he had this to say about why he wanted to leave KC.
Pat had Kelsey, and I was kind of jealous. I was hurt. Patrick, you ain't never invite me over to your house like you did Kelsey. You always invited Kelsey. That's why we here where we at now.
It was almost 1 and 2, and with Tua, you are for sure 1.
I never been anybody's side chick before. Never. Always, my whole life. High school, middle school, all the quarterbacks, main chick. I go to KC, now I'm the side chick. I'm like, what's going on with that? You taking me to Joe's barbecue. No, I don't want no barbecue. I want to go to the fancy restaurants.
You want to go to Nobu?
I want to go to Nobu.
He basically, so is he serious or is he joking? Obviously he's joking,
hilarious.
but I loved it because he said, I am the main dish. I am not a side dish in this.
Great. Yeah, he's joking, but not wrong.
He's not wrong. You had your guy. I should have been your guy, and now you got to find another guy. So,
Yep.
There you go.
And may have found one on Brooke's fantasy team. By the way, we're playing this weekend.
Uh-oh. It's you and I?
I think I'm up 34-0 because of DK Metcalf.
Wait, are you
DK
serious?
went off.
Yeah.
DK went off last night. I wasn't a fan of it.
Are you going to play Josh Jobs?
I'm not. That was a mistake last week. That I was like, well, maybe it'll work out. Nope, it did not work out.
So far.
Oh, my God, you are already up 34.
Kyler's film room is leading Rodgers' darkness retreat.
Hey, just like Aaron Rodgers, we'll come back.
Yeah, right. Hey, we have really enjoyed having Bradford Bruns in studio with us this week.
Yes.
My producer, audio engineer, and for Matt Rocchio.
Appreciate it very much, guys.
Good to see you. And Matthew will be back on Monday. Brooke, did you have fun?
I did.
Cool. Good. CD. Josh
What's your face? We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, and we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show for all of us until Monday morning at 7. Have a great weekend, St. Louis.
That's right.